Chapter 632. Especially the old-fashioned Madame Jianghong. You're such an interesting kid. Your brother isn't even married yet. For someone of my brother's status, women are always throwing themselves at him. It's normal for him to have children before he's married. After all, the Hua family is a big business. It's only natural for us to have children. Ha, good. You finally said something nice. The Hua family will definitely prosper in the future. Hua Zhenghai was very happy as he picked up his wine glass and took a small sip. Hua Xiqian held his wine glass with interest and looked into Hua Min's eyes. Your brother has been very tired lately. It's probably going to be difficult for him to have a child. Wait for me to recover. I'll count on your blessings, sis. During this time, everyone gave him their gifts. Xiqian, with your current status, you can't drive a Ferrari or a Maserati anymore. I got you a Bentley. The old man handed over the keys to the Bentley. Thanks, Dad. Hua Xiqian smiled as he played with the keys. The old man was quite generous. He was willing to give him a Bentley. He must have put in a lot of effort. Hua Xiqian wondered what kind of trap was behind this sweet gift. Jiang Hong took out a bunch of keys and placed them on the table. Then, she turned around and said quietly, I bought you a mansion in the new city up north, Fugui Garden. Mom, you love me so much. You know that I like the land at Fugui Garden. When I get married, it'll be my new home. Hua Xiqian smiled. Jiang Hong's eyes were filled with love. Although Hua Xiqian wasn't her biological son, she treated him like her own. Over the years, the mother and son got along very well. Shun Jiani nudged Hua Xi's arm as if to remind him. Hua Xi reluctantly took out a paper bag and handed it over. Big brother, happy birthday. Because I don't have much savings, I can only give you a belt. Thank you, Xi. Hua Xiqian took the bag without opening it, but Hua Min could tell from the label that it was a luxury belt worth 70 to 80,000 RMB. Shun Jiani took out a brocade box and smiled. Although you don't lack watches, I really didn't know what to buy. So, I discussed with Yan Yan and bought this for you. Do you like it? It was an Omega limited edition male watch. Hua Xiqian glanced at it. It cost about 200,000 yuan. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't expensive either. For Shin Jiani, it was the most suitable. Hua Xiqian still had a smile on his face. He took the watch and said, Thank you, Aunt Shin. Also, thank you, my good little sister Yan Yan. Hua Min remained silent. This group of people really came from rich families. They were indeed different. Car, house, watch, belt. Just the few items just now would cost at least tens of millions. She truly felt that it was too extravagant. Just then, Shin Jiani purposely asked gently, Mian, what gift did you get for Big Brother? Show it to us. Hua Min felt a little awkward. She really didn't prepare anything, but it wasn't her fault. Hua Xiqian, that bastard, didn't tell her that it was his birthday today. Hua Min was just about to reply that she didn't buy anything. Hua Xiqian interrupted, Little sister Mian, I already gave him something. Oh? What did this girl give him? Hua Zhenghai was quite curious. Jiang Hong also smiled. It must be expensive. After all, our Mian is now GK's a young lady. Hua Min could tell that they all knew about her relationship with Qin Chu. No wonder they looked at her differently this time. So that's why. Yeah, how could Qin Chu's wife be stingy? Sister Hua Min, show it to us. Hua Xi sneered. Chapter 633. This is my little secret, so I can't show it to you guys. However, I can tell you that Mian's gift is my favorite, Hua Xiqian purposely said mysteriously. Upon hearing this, Shun Jiani's expression changed slightly. Then, she looked at Hua Zhenghai, and the two of them seemed to exchange glances. After the dinner, Hua Min sat on the sofa and ate some fruit. I'll ask the driver to take you home later, Hua Zhenghai said, not knowing what was going on. No, Dad, Mian is staying at home today, Hua Xiqian interjected. Staying at home? Everyone seemed to be a little surprised. Hua Min didn't even want to come, but this time he was planning to stay at home? What was the reason for this? Yeah, I'm pretty tired after work today, so I won't be going home, Hua Min explained calmly. You're not going home? Will Qin Chu agree? Hua Zhenghai was still in disbelief. Dad, my brother-in-law, isn't home. You must have heard about the incident at GK's subsidiary company, right? Hua Xiqian reminded him. Hua Zhenghai slapped his forehead upon hearing this. Oh, right, I just remembered. Look at me. I'm such a dote. Mian, how's the situation over there? It's not done yet. Qin Shu is there to take care of the aftermath. Oh, okay, don't worry. We're all family. If you need anything, just tell me or your brother. We'll do our best to help you. Huamin wanted to vomit at Hua Zhenghai's hypocritical words, thinking back to last time, when Hua Zhenghai tried to tear down the old mansion and threatened his mother. Huamin wanted to slap this old bastard. What a hypocrite. What a despicable person, however. He still had to save his face, therefore. Huamin obediently nodded. I got it. After chatting for a bit, everyone went their separate ways. Hua Zhenghai liked to stay in his small study and read books and write calligraphy. Jiang Hong was a Buddhist, so she spent most of her time in the mansion's Buddhist temple chanting scriptures. Xin Jiani, on the other hand, liked to maintain her health. After dinner, she would go for a walk in the garden and trim the plants. Needless to say, Hua Si was also a frequent customer of the nightclub. After dinner, he couldn't wait to leave and didn't want to stay a minute longer. Before he left, he even told her that he had a friend's birthday today and might be out late, so she didn't have to wait for him. Huamin sneered in his heart. How could he help this Ado up? Even if he was given 3 zhuge-liangs, he still wouldn't be a match for Hua Xiqian. Someone like Hua Si wouldn't be able to survive more than 2 episodes in an ancient palace drama. Huamin really wondered how Hua Zhenghai and Xin Jiani had given birth to such an idiot. Young master, Mrs. Room is ready. The maid came forward to report. Okay, Mian, come with me. Hua Xiqian put one hand in his pocket and went upstairs. Huamin quietly followed behind him. Huamin was a bit worried about Qin Shu, but she couldn't call him in front of them, so she was a bit distracted. She didn't even notice that Hua Xiqian had stopped in front of her suddenly. She bumped into Hua Xiqian. She bounced back. She was still in the middle of the 2nd floor, so her body leaned back. Huamin was scared out of his wits. Careful. Luckily, Hua Xiqian grabbed her arm in time. That was close. After standing up, Huamin was still scared. What are you thinking about? Didn't you hear what I said? Hua Xiqian looked at her, amused. Huamin didn't say anything. Are you thinking about what to give me as compensation for my birthday? You didn't tell me that it was your birthday, so you can't blame me for that, Huamin said confidently. What if I ask you for it now? Is it too late? Hua Xiqian stopped smiling and looked at Huamin seriously. Are you going out to buy it now? Huamin froze. No, you have what I want. Hua Xiqian stared at her and said word for word. Chapter 634. Huamin's heart sank. She didn't know what Hua Xiqian was up to. Are you going to give it to me or not? You haven't told me what it is. How am I going to give it to you? Haha, it's simple. Just a lock of hair. Hua Xiqian reached out to touch Huamin's hair. However, she brushed his hand away. Why do you want my hair? Do you want it to be a curse? Give it to me? Huamin looked at him with a dark expression. Haha, you have such a wild imagination. It's a shame that you're not a writer. Hua Xiqian couldn't stop laughing. He hadn't laughed so heartily in a long time. Then why do you want my hair? Huamin felt like it was perverted to ask for someone's hair for no reason. Maybe it was because she read too many horror novels, but she always felt that something like hair shouldn't be given out so easily. Hua Xiqian didn't answer directly. Instead, he turned around and walked to a guest room on the 2nd floor. Then, he opened the door. It's very spacious here. You can sleep here tonight. Okay. Huamin nodded and walked in. She looked around. It was a postmodern mix of black and blue. It was simple and beautiful. To be honest, she quite liked the style. Is there anything else? Huamin turned around and saw that Hua Xiqian had no intention of leaving. Give me your hair. Hua Xiqian reached out his hand and continued to ask for a birthday present. You didn't even tell me what it was for. Why should I give it to you? Don't worry, I'm not going to cast a curse on you. I'm not that perverted, Hua Xiqian explained with a smile. That's not necessarily true. Huamin obviously didn't want to give it to him. Hua Xiqian walked over and closed the door. Then, he whispered into Huamin's ear, I'm going to take your hair and do a DNA test. Yoop? Huamian was indeed frightened by his words. Hua Xiqian wanted to do a DNA test for her, out of the blue. Could it be that he knew something? Watching Huamin's expression change bit by bit, it was really fun. Hua Xiqian laughed again. Look at how scared you are. I was just teasing you. What DNA test? Aren't you my sister? Huamin didn't know what to say. What's wrong? Didn't your Uncle Jing and Dad carry you for a DNA test? What are you afraid of? Hua Xiqian asked. Huamin suddenly remembered that her mother had told her that not long after she was born, Uncle Jing did take her to Huaxinghai for a DNA test. The result was obvious, but the Hua family was still unwilling to acknowledge her, simply because she was a girl. If it had been a boy, the outcome might have been different. Everyone knew that Huaxinghai favored boys over girls. But she was already sure that she wasn't a member of the Hua family, so what was with the DNA test back then? Did Uncle Jing do something to it? But why would he do that? Huamin was confused. According to the results of her investigation, Jingda, or Uncle Jing, was the only person who knew the whole truth. He definitely knew exactly what had happened in Dongtao Town back then. But even though he knew the truth, Uncle Jing still accompanied Huaxinghai to do a DNA test to prove that she was Huaxinghai's daughter. Why did he do that? Was it for money? It didn't make sense. Later on, the Hua family didn't acknowledge her. All these years, Uncle Jing worked hard to support the family and was very good to her. It probably had nothing to do with money. Huamin fell into deep thought again. Hua Xiqian reminded her again, "Little sister Mian, can't we have a nice chat?" Chapter 635. I definitely can't give you my hair, Huamin insisted. Is there no room for negotiation? Hua Xiqian looked at her as if he was wronged.
No.
So, you're not going to give me a present? You're so stingy, Hua Xiqian complained. Was Huamin stingy? Of course not. She just didn't prepare in advance. What's your WeChat number? Huamin took out his phone and asked. You want to add me? Hua Xiqian was immediately interested. Yeah. Huamin nodded, which was rare for him. Hua Xiqian immediately took out his phone from his pocket, opened the QR code, and placed it in front of Huamin. Here, Huamin silently took out his phone and glanced at it. When he saw Hua Xiqian's WeChat name, he was speechless. Humbly gentleman was he? Of course not. His WeChat name was so ironic, he had no other choice. After it was verified, Huamin sent him a red envelope. Then it said, Happy birthday. Hua Xiqian smiled in surprise. Oh, there's really a red envelope. I'm so happy. However, when he opened the red envelope, he couldn't be happy anymore. 88 yuan. 88 yuan. Little sister Mian, you're so generous. Hua Xiqian looked at Huamin helplessly. You're rich. You don't need money. It's just a token of my sincerity. Okay, you're right. I don't know what to say. Although Huamin only gave him a small red envelope, Hua Xiqian was still very happy because Huamin actually added him on WeChat. It seemed like he gained a lot. Go to bed early. I'm going out with my friends. Hua Xiqian waved his hand then. He turned around and closed the door. Huamin heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that he hadn't caused any trouble. He had been scared out of his wits. Hair and DNA were all gimmicks, right? Huamin sat at the head of the bed. He was bored to death. This was not his home, and there were restrictions everywhere. Because the guest room didn't have a bathroom, it wasn't convenient to take a shower. She didn't want to go out and use the public bathroom, so she could only take out her phone to play. She also chatted with Zhu Lingling. Haha. You said you only gave Hua Xiqian 88 yuan? Zhu Lingling laughed maniacally in the voice message. It was very demonic. You're too stingy. Don't forget that she gave you an 8 million yuan bracelet for your birthday. So what? Huamin disagreed. 8 million yuan and 88 yuan is too big of a difference, right? He doesn't need money, and I didn't prepare anything else. He kept asking me for more, so I had no choice but to send him a WeChat red packet, Huamin said helplessly. You're a genius, Zhu Lingling exclaimed. After chatting with Zhu Lingling, Huamin received a call from Qin Chu. Hubby, Huamin greeted obediently. You're such a good girl. Did you do something wrong again? Qin Chu asked. Of course not. Why would I? You didn't drink behind my back, right? Qin Chu asked worriedly. No, I swear. What are you doing? I was bored. I just chatted with Lingling on WeChat. What about you? I just came back from work. How's it going over there?
Huamin was worried.
It's almost done. I'll be back tomorrow. That's great. Huamin was excited.
What?
Did you miss me? Qin Shu chuckled. Of course. Yeah, I missed you too. I haven't eaten you in a long time. I really miss your taste. Ahem. Qin Shu's explicit confession made Huamin cough violently. Mr. Qin, can you be a little more reserved? Why should I be reserved? Honey, you'll have to get used to it. Huamin was speechless. Honey, is your period coming? My period is coming in a few days. How about I book a flight back right now? Qin Shu was really in a hurry. If he waited until Huamian's period came, he would be delayed for another week, and he would probably go crazy. Chapter 636. Don't joke around. Do you have to be in such a hurry? Of course I'm in a hurry. I don't want to wait a second longer. Although they were on the other side of the phone, Huamin's face still reddened slightly. Qin Shu wasn't a particularly lustful person, but he was still addicted to Huamian. Honey, I'll be back tomorrow. Okay, then I'll get off work early and wait for you at home. Okay? After hanging up the phone, Huamin's heart was still filled with sweetness. The chemistry between her and Qin Shu was always this high. They were each other's most important existences, and they cared about each other the most. Although she didn't know how things were going on over there, Huamin believed that Qin Shu would take care of everything. With Mr. Qin's intelligence and wisdom, any problem wouldn't be a problem anymore. Seductive Fox, Huasiqian's friends booked a luxurious private room here. There were more than 30 men and women in the private room, and they were all extremely happy. Su Yu and Wei Liao were also there. It was very lively. Su Yu and Huasiqian sat side by side, drinking and chatting. You seem to be very nice to Huamin, brother Hua. Su Yu had a smile on his face. He's my little sister. Of course I have to take care of her. Huasiqian knew that Su Yu was talking about Immerse. He helped Huamin and GK, which meant that he was indirectly going against Su Yu. The good thing was that Su Yu didn't care because Huamin was there. It's your birthday today. Why didn't your little sister come? Su Yu's words were filled with sarcasm. After all, he knew that Huasiqian and Huamin didn't have a good relationship. Or to put it bluntly, Huamin didn't like this older brother of his. Huasiqian could hear the sarcasm in Huamian's voice, but he only smiled. My little sister is tired. She wanted to rest after dinner. I just sent her back to the guest room to rest. She's in your house? Su Yu was a little surprised. Yeah, the little girl followed me home after work. She had dinner with me and even sent me a WeChat red packet, Huasiqian said as he took out his phone to show off to Su Yu. Then, before Su Yu could say anything, he added, although it's only 88 yuan. As far as I know, there are very few people who can cheat her of her money.
Huh.
Indeed. Su Yu's reply was sour. Why was everyone else so lucky to have Huamin's WeChat? Why didn't he have it? How's President Su doing? I heard that Jian Tong is very popular at Imperial Star. She's not my cup of tea. Su Yu picked up a glass of wine and slowly took a sip. Are you still thinking about my little sister? She's married. Huasiqian laughed. I don't need you to remind me of that. I've always known. So, what if she's married? Can she guarantee that she'll be with Qin Shu forever? I don't believe it. I'll wait. Wait for the day she divorces Qin Shu. I'm afraid that's a little difficult. I'm never afraid of difficult things in my life. Su Yu is full of confidence. Okay, then I hope that you'll realize your dreams soon. How about you help me persuade your little sister to dump Qin Shu as soon as possible?
I don't know what's so good about that guy.
His face is as cold as ice, and he doesn't even smile. He's so old-fashioned, just like an old man. How boring. Su Yu acted like a child, criticizing Qin Shu in front of Huasiqian. Huasiqian only smiled. If my words were effective, then things wouldn't be like this now. You know how willful my little sister is. The two of them chatted and laughed in the blink of an eye. It was already late at night. Huasiqian never rejected beautiful women, so he was known as a playboy in the entertainment industry. Many of the beauties in the room wanted to leave with Huasiqian. After all, he was handsome and gentle apparently. He was also very good in bed, therefore they didn't hold back anymore. Just as the girls were getting into a heated argument, the door to the room suddenly opened. Io, the superstar is here. Someone in the private room shouted. Immerse walked in elegantly, wearing a golden dress and letting her long, wavy hair down. Then, she sat down right next to Hwasichen. I just finished recording a new song. Sorry for being late, Immerse said. It's okay, as long as you're here. Hwasichen smiled gently. Young Master Su, you're here too. Immerse nodded and greeted Su when she saw him. If I knew that you wouldn't go to the States, you would have signed with Imperial Star. Su looked at Immerse half-jokingly. Chapter 637. Young Master Su, you must be joking. Imperial Star is full of stars. How could a small celebrity like me fit in? Immerse was extremely talented, so even when she was talking to a big shot like Suyu, she was still fearless. This was very admirable. Wei Liao and Suyu both smiled, but they didn't say anything. Hwasichen hung out with them for a little while longer. Seeing that it was getting late, he left Seductive Fox with Immerse. Everyone went their separate ways. Sichen, come to my place tonight. Immerse rarely acted coquettishly. Perhaps it was because she drank a lot today, but she wrapped her arms around Hwasichen's neck and stuck to him.
Not today.
As expected, Hwasichen rejected her.
Why not?
Immerse was a little disappointed. You never ask why. Hwasichen smiled, got into his car, and drove away. I think I know. Actually, I knew from the first time I saw her. Her eyes are very similar to mine. No, they're even prettier than mine. So, you've always been nice to me because of her, right? Women shouldn't be too smart. It's tiring. Hwasichen didn't answer her directly, but he indirectly admitted it. Immerse felt extremely uncomfortable, but she didn't show it. They didn't speak the entire way back to her place. Immerse still wanted to ask, are you really not coming up with me? It's fine if you don't want to, but can we at least do it? Immerse was very direct. What she meant was that he didn't need to stay the night, and he could leave as soon as he finished. However, Hwasichen still rejected her. Go up, it's getting late. Okay then, be careful.
Bye.
In the end, Immerse reluctantly waved her hand and turned to go upstairs. Hwasichen drove off in the new Bentley that old fart gave him. 11:30 p.m. Hwamin was actually quite picky with his bed. He was used to staying at Imperial Park, so when he first arrived at South Hill Manor, he couldn't sleep. It was because he wasn't used to it. He thought that he wouldn't be able to sleep here, but to his surprise, the incense in the house smelled so good. She actually fell asleep in a daze. This kind of smell was something that she, a doctor, had never smelled before. It was a very strange smell. Perhaps she didn't know that the incense lamp contained a unique hypnotic spice. So, Hwamin fell into a deep sleep. Just then, the door opening, Hwasichen walked in, wearing a white shirt and black pants. Hwamian shizes, ants, hwazazes. Master, hwa he covered hwa and Miss S hwa hun, finally, hwa su. In Hwasu's huns hwa alone in hwa s, standing, hwa s, t and look, hwa s hun, s su, t he. It was such a luxury to let her sleep in the Hwa mansion for one night. He was the one who made Immerse give up her future in Hollywood in exchange for this opportunity. His request was simple. Hwamian could spend the night here alone, even though he knew that Hwamin was fast asleep. She wouldn't know even if he did something. But he didn't. Under the dim moonlight, he stared at Hwamin's beautiful nose and red lips. Hwasichen felt like something was slowly growing in his heart. Me, you're great. But how long do I have to wait? Hwasichen's eyes darkened. Chapter 638. Hwamin had a very hazy dream. She felt like someone was looking at her in her room, but she couldn't wake up. Morning, Hwamin woke up at 6 in the morning and washed up. Then, without waiting for anyone else to wake up, she headed downstairs. She couldn't wait to leave the Hwa mansion. She didn't want to stay a second longer. However, to her surprise, she bumped into Hwa Yen at the door, who had just come home. It seemed like she had just come home and hadn't removed her makeup yet. Her hair was messy, and her heels were covered in dirt. "Why are you here?" Hua Yanyan asked him politely when she saw Humin. "Why can't I be here? My last name is Hua too." Humin purposely tried to piss her off. "Humph. Dad didn't publicly acknowledge you, but you and your mother shamelessly threw themselves at me. Don't be so loud. We're both mistresses. You're laughing at me like this. It's like the pot calling the kettle black. You're so stupid." After speaking, Humin didn't plan on paying any attention to her and walked away. However, Hu Yanyan grabbed onto her hair. She didn't hold back at all. Hu Yanyan had been fooling around a lot lately, and she didn't come home until late at night. The person she admired the most was Suyu, but she was sure that she had no chance with him. Suyu didn't even talk to her. He didn't even give her a chance to eat with him. When she heard that Humin was going to marry Qin Chu, she was furious. She was so jealous that she went crazy. She was so ordinary, and she looked so ordinary. How could she have everything? Hua Yanyan didn't want to admit defeat. In a fit of anger, she lost control and grabbed onto Humin's hair. Humin didn't expect Hua Yanyan to actually hit her. She was crazy. Before she could fight back, Hua Yanyan screamed in pain. Humian turned around and saw that Hu Yanyan had been pushed to the corner by Hua Xiqian and was leaning against the table. "Let go of me. Don't do things like this again." Hua Xiqian coldly stared into Hua Yanyan's eyes. "It's none of your business. I'm here to teach that bitch a lesson," Hua Yanyan yelled. As soon as the word bitch left his mouth, Hua Xiqian tightened his grip. Hua Yanyan couldn't breathe. "Ugh. Let go. Let go. If I see you looking for trouble with Humin again, you will leave the country immediately." Hua Si has learned his lesson after staying in the Philippines for 3 months. "Why don't I send you to India? I heard that you can do whatever you want to women on the bus there. With your personality, I'm sure you'll like it." Hua Xiqian enunciated each word clearly. Hua Yanyan was so scared that her face turned pale. "No, no. Get out. You're ruining my good mood." Hua Xiqian suddenly let go of Hua Yanyan, and Hua Yanyan ran upstairs. "Aren't you afraid that she'll tell the old man what you did to her?" Humin looked at Hua Xiqian and asked. Hua Xiqian picked up a handkerchief and wiped his hands. Then, he said nonchalantly, "If I was afraid of this and that, would I have been safe and sound in this family for so many years?" "Haha, you're right." Humin actually admired Hua Xiqian. He was an adopted son who had lived in the Hua family for so many years, and his status was as stable as a mountain. "You're leaving so early. You haven't had breakfast yet," Hua Xiqian said as he looked at Humin. "I'm not hungry. I'm not eating."
Haha.
"I think you don't want to stay a second longer." "Fine, I'm going out too. Let's go together. We're both driving our own cars. There's no point in us leaving together, right?" Humin said helplessly. "Meaning depends on the person. Let's go," Hua Xiqian said meaningfully before leaving with Humin. After Hua Yanyan went upstairs, she frantically knocked on the door to the master bedroom. When Xin Jiani opened the door in her pajamas, Hua Zhenghai woke up and leaned against the headboard. "Yanyan, what are you doing so early in the morning?" "Mom. Dad. Hua Xiqian wants to strangle me and send me to India." Hua Yanyan was so scared that she started crying and stuttering. Chapter 639. What's going on? Xin Jiani frowned slightly. Hua Zhenghai also looked towards the door. "Let her in." Xin Jiani opened the door to see Hua Yanyan crying so hard that her makeup was smudged. Hua Yanyan walked in and explained what just happened while crying. Of course, she avoided the important details and talked about the trivial ones. After hearing what she said, Hua Zhenghai asked, "Did you yell at Humin again?" "I didn't. I just said a few things to her," Hua Yanyan said guiltily. "You don't have to hide it. How could I not know what you've been like all these years? How many times have I told you that Humin isn't the same as before? She's President Qin's wife now, a young lady of GK. We still need her to help you deal with Hua Xiqian, but now you're the one who pushed her over. Isn't it normal for Hua Xiqian to help Humin? I knew that he was trying to get Humin on his birthday when he invited Humin over." Xin Jiani was speechless as she looked at her brainless daughter. Hua Zhenghai's face darkened. "Yan, you need to change your personality. You can't keep messing around like this." "Dad, I don't want to go to India. Don't make me go abroad. C was in the Philippines for so long and almost couldn't come back. It's so scary. It turned out that she was worried about being exiled. Don't worry. Your dad loves you so much, he won't. Shun Jiani felt bad for her daughter, so she held Hu Yanyan's hand and comforted her. As long as I'm alive, that adopted son of mine won't be able to call the shots. I know what I'm doing, but don't cause trouble for yourself. I know, Dad. Hu Yanyan was relieved to hear that her father was willing to protect her. Don't run around for a while if necessary. We can choose to get married, Dad. I don't want to get married so early. That's not up to you. You have to think about the bigger picture. Hu Zhenghai lectured. Yan, do you still have any hope with Suyu? Shun Jiani asked tentatively. Hu Yan shook her head dejectedly. I can't even see him now. Suyu's circle is very closed. Only a few people can hang out with him. I was lucky enough to see him a few times before, but he completely ignored me. I heard that Suyu is interested in Hu Xiqian. Hu Zhenghai remembered what Hu Xiqian said before. That vixen, she's so shameless. She's already married, but she's still trying to seduce young Master Su.
Disgusting.
Shut up and listen to your father. Shun Jiani glared at her daughter. If Suyu really likes Suyu, then her words have weight. Why don't we let Yan stay with Humin? Maybe she'll be able to see Suyu, but the Su family isn't a place where we can just marry into. Shun Jiani was a little worried. That's not a problem. As long as Yan is pregnant, the Su family won't deny it. Old Master Su is very strict, Hu Zhenghai analyzed. Dad, are you asking me to beg Humin? I don't want to. I hate her to death. You don't have to do it. With your relationship with her, I don't think she'll help you. I'll think of a way. Okay, Dad, as long as I can be with Suyu, I'll listen to everything you say. Hu Yanyan wiped away her tears, and her bad mood immediately disappeared. Hu Zhenghai was good at scheming, and now he had set his sights on Humin. That was because she was too valuable to be used, of course. Humin wasn't easy to talk to, and he still had to plan this carefully. Humin and Hu Xiqian left the Hu mansion one after another and went their separate ways at a fork in the road. Humin drove straight to South Side, just as she arrived at the office. A delivery man came in behind her. Miss Humin? This is the breakfast that Mr. Hu Xiqian ordered for you. After speaking, the delivery man placed an exquisite lunchbox on the table. Chapter 640. Just leave it here. Okay, please enjoy. Humin changed into her white lab coat and looked at the breakfast. She thought that Hu Xiqian was a very attentive person. Breakfast was sumptuous. There were deep-fried dough sticks, hot soy milk, pickles, and a box of soup dumplings. Just as she was about to eat, Hu Xiqian sent her a WeChat message. Is breakfast here yet? Just got here. Okay, eat up. You have a weak stomach. Try not to go hungry in the future.
Thank you.
This was the first time that Humin spoke to Hu Xiqian without hostility. Even when Mo Schweb signed the contract, she didn't thank him so sincerely. Humin's stomach was an old problem. It started when she was in school. Because she didn't like to eat breakfast, she often went to school on an empty stomach. In the end, it developed into gastritis. Eating hot or cold food, or hard or spicy food would cause her stomach to hurt. This was a small problem that even Qin Chu didn't care about, but Hu Xiqian actually knew about it. He even knew that the medicine she took when she was sick was called omeprazole. How did he know? After Humin finished breakfast, she casually scrolled through her friend circle to see what everyone was saying. To her surprise, she saw that Hu Xiqian had posted something. Hu Xiqian's birthday was yesterday, so logically speaking, he should be showing off at night with celebrities. However, this morning, he only posted a screenshot of Humin's red packet. Humin's name was blurred out, but with such an awesome number, Humin definitely knew that it was him. Other than himself, no one else would dare to send Hu Xiqian 88. After Hu Xiqian posted, the comment section exploded. Huh? Mr. Hua, what's going on? Who sent you that red packet? That's a huge one. Young Master Hua, who is this? Why are you censoring her? Let us see. Boss, tell me, who sent this red packet? Are they trying to embarrass the Hua Corporation? I'm going to chop her up right now. In any case, Everyone was saying all sorts of things. Huasiqian didn't reply. He just smiled. However, Suyu's reply was more thought-provoking. He only commented with 3 words, I wanted to. Huasiqian replied, I'll send you 88 in a bit. I don't want it from you. I want it from her. Suyu proudly replied. Haha, then I won't be able to help you, Huasiqian said proudly. He knew that Suyu was jealous of him, jealous to the point of madness. This was the first time in his life that he felt so superior. After breakfast, Huamin began to get busy. During this time, he sent a WeChat message to Qin-Chu. Qin-Chu had already boarded the plane and would be landing in 3 hours. Huamin was ecstatic at the thought of being able to share a bed with Mr. Qin tonight. During lunch, just as he was about to go to the cafeteria, he received a phone call. Huamin, I'm Jiang Xiaowei. Huamin didn't know how to react. I'm outside the hospital. Come out for a second. Okay. Huamin hung up the phone and walked to the door. As expected, Jiang Xiaowei was eavesdropping outside the hospital in a white Lexus. What's wrong? Why aren't you coming in? Huamin asked curiously as he looked at her through the car window. Get in the car, come with me. Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin and said. Jiang Xiaowei always appeared and disappeared like a ghost. She rarely contacted Huamin, but she always went straight to the point on WeChat. She never liked or sent him a private message. She was truly a cold and aloof woman. However, she was willing to be friends with Huamin. Weirdos liked weirdos. If Jiang Xiaowei didn't say that she was straight, Huamin would have suspected that she was gay. Chapter 641. Where are we going? I have to go to work in a bit. Huamin was a little hesitant. I'll be back soon. Don't worry, it won't take up too much of your time. Okay. Huamin nodded. Without another word, he opened the car door and got into the car. 10 minutes later, they arrived at a high-end Western restaurant. Jiang Xiaowei waved her hand. Waiter, we're here to order. Then, she looked at Huamin. Their steak is really good. I'll order for you. Okay. Jiang Xiaowei then ordered 2 steaks, 2 drinks, fruit salad, and ice cream. Then, the two began to eat in silence. After about 30 minutes, they were full. Huamin asked curiously, Did you ask me to come here to eat with you? No, I'm here to go on a blind date with me. Blind date, where is he? Huamin looked left and right, but he didn't see a single man. He'll be here soon. I asked him to come at 12:30. He'll be here right after we finish eating. Don't we have to wait for him? Is that okay? Huamin thought that Jiang Xiaowei came half an hour early, ate like crazy, and then waited for her blind date. What an awesome idea. Why should I wait for him? It's not like I don't know him that well, Jiang Xiaowei said matter-of-factly. You're so outstanding, so you have to go on blind dates too? Huamin truly admired Jiang Xiaowei. She was young, pretty, highly educated, and came from a good family. She really had no flaws. But a woman like her had to go on blind dates. It was quite sad. Haven't you heard of the ABCD law? Jiang Xiaowei wiped the corner of her mouth and asked Huamin. Huamin shook his head. Okay. When did you come to Earth? Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin helplessly, as if she was really looking at an alien. Huamin felt that he was fashionable enough. He would check Weibo or something when he had nothing to do. However, in Jiang Xiaowei's eyes, he suddenly became an alien. Jiang Xiaowei looked at Huamin helplessly and said slowly, If men and women are divided into 4 levels of excellence, A, B, C, and D, then a man will look for B woman, B man will look for C woman, C man will look for D woman, and in the end, only a woman and D man will be left. These are 2 extremes, and these 2 types of people will never be together. Men will never want to find someone better than themselves, and women will always want to find the best. This is the tragedy of society. So, you're the only one left, Huamin sighed.
Correct.
Huamin suddenly felt very grateful. She didn't come from a good family, and she wasn't extremely beautiful either. Therefore, she categorized herself as a B woman. In the end, she was able to be with a man like Mr. Qin. Jiang Xiaowei's words made a lot of sense. Just then, a young man wearing glasses walked over from not too far away. Then, He looked at the two women at the table and was a bit confused. "Excuse me, which one of you is Miss Jiang Shaowei?" The man in glasses asked weakly. Humin pointed at Jiang Shaowei, who was sitting beside him. The man in glasses nodded and sat down across from them. First, he looked at the empty plates that were left over. Then, he looked at Jiang Shaowei and introduced himself. "Hello, my name is Du Zhongqi. I graduated from Beijing University with a master's degree in finance and economics. My mother works at the Water Conservancy Bureau as a section chief, and my father is an executive at a telecommunications company. Our family owns 8 houses in this city, and this guy is really honest." He immediately introduced himself as soon as he arrived. It was as if he was reciting a textbook. Humin almost laughed when he heard this before the man in glasses could finish. Jiang Shaowei impatiently waved her hand and interrupted him. "Sorry, I had to interrupt you first." Chapter 642. Jiang Shaowei then asked, "I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in your family background, wealth, or your parents' jobs at all. Marriage is a matter between 2 people. I only care about you as a person. I chose to go on a blind date with you this time because your resume said that your IQ is as high as 115, right?" "That's right." The man in glasses nodded, feeling a sense of superiority. "Very good, then I'll give you 3 questions. Try them out." You're going to give me questions?" Humin mumbled quietly after hearing Jiang Shaowei's words. "If I don't give him questions, how would I know if his high IQ is his own or someone else's? There are so many scammers nowadays." After hearing Jiang Shaowei's words, Humin felt like they made a lot of sense. Therefore, she silently ate her ice cream and waited to see what questions Jiang Shaowei was going to give to her blind date. She thought about it and thought that it would be fun. There's an incense stick. The thickness is uneven. In ancient times, people used incense sticks to calculate time. For example, the time it takes for an incense stick to burn is 1 hour. However, when the thickness of the incense is uneven, it can be fast or slow. Burning halfway doesn't mean that it's actually half an hour. Tell me, how do you use this uneven incense stick to calculate an accurate half an hour? After Jiang Shaowei gave him her questions, the man in glasses was a little dumbfounded. He thought that Jiang Shaowei was going to give him a brain teaser, like how there are 7 monkeys on the tree and 1 monkey on the ground. How many monkeys are there in total? However, after Jiang Shaowei gave him her questions, he racked his brains but still couldn't come up with an answer. "Bro, it's been 1 minute. Do you know how to do it or not?" Jiang Shaowei looked at her watch impatiently. "Give me some more time, I need to think." The man in glasses was a little anxious. In fact, he really wanted to take out his phone and search on Baidu, but he was helpless as the 2 women across from him looked at him. Then, Jiang Shaowei looked at Humin and said, "Tell him, I can't take it anymore." Humian stopped eating her ice cream and said calmly, "It's actually quite simple. You just have to light up the 2 ends of the incense stick. The place where the flames meet might not be the center of the incense stick, but the time it takes for them to meet is exactly half an incense stick's time, which is half an hour." "Did you hear that?" Jiang Shaowei looked at the man in glasses. The man nodded. "I'm enlightened." Then, listen to the next question. "Another test?" The man in glasses was a little nervous. "Isn't your IQ 115? The one sitting next to me is 130, so in order to test your IQ, I still have to ask." The man in glasses looked at Humin guiltily. Jiang Shaowei continued, "This one's quite simple. I'll give you 10 seconds to answer. Listen carefully. There are 4 pairs of socks of different colors on my bedside. Every time I wear them, I randomly pick up a few and find a pair. How many socks do I have to pick up to make sure there's at least 1 pair of socks?" "Let me think. It should be 4, the man in glasses answered. Humin looked at him sympathetically and interrupted. "She has 4 socks of different colors. What if she's unlucky and picks up 4 socks of different colors?" Yeah, I didn't think of that." The man in glasses seemed to have just realized. Humin added sympathetically, "So, you have to pick up at least 5 socks to make sure there's a pair." Jiang Shaowei looked at the man in glasses coldly. Do you really have an IQ of 115? Did something go wrong? I can't, my school gave it to me. I also answered a lot of questions. The man in glasses looked wronged. Okay, I'll give you one last chance. If you can't answer this question, you should leave. Don't waste my time. I can't stand men with low IQs. Then, Zhang Xiaowei asked a robber caught a farmer. He said to the farmer, "Do you think I'll kill you? If you guessed right, I'll let you go. If you guessed wrong, I'll kill you." The farmer thought for a moment and answered, "You'll kill me." So, the robber let him go. The farmer saved his life. How did the farmer guess right? After Zhang Xiaowei asked this question, the man in glasses was once again dumbfounded. These questions were so weird, he had never heard of them before. Chapter 643. This is super easy. Do you need to think about it for a long time? Zhang Xiaowei was going crazy. She was going to teach her old man a lesson when she got back. What the hell did he arrange for her? Even his IQ had to be fake. The man in glasses seemed to be thinking hard, but he couldn't come up with an answer in the end. He had no choice but to take out his phone and put it under the table. Before he could check, Zhang Xiaowei said, "Don't ask Baidu. This doesn't fit your status as a top student in the finance department of Beijing University." Her words made the bespectacled man's face flush red. He was suddenly at a loss and didn't know what to do. Then, he suddenly remembered that there was a woman with an IQ of 130 beside him. So, he looked at Huimin for help. Huimian slowly finished her ice cream and said, "This is actually a logical problem. First of all, there's something wrong with the robber's question. If the robber thinks that the farmer's answer is wrong, that you would kill me, then it proves that he didn't want to kill the farmer, and the farmer can't die. If the robber thinks that the farmer's answer is right, that you would kill me, then the robber has to fulfill his promise and let the farmer go. The farmer still can't die. This is a logical flaw."
Oh, I see.
The man in glasses suddenly understood. "Okay, you can go now. Waiter, the bill." Zhang Xiaowei stood up. Can you give me another chance? I'm probably too nervous, so..." The man in glasses anxiously explained, "I don't have time to play mind games with you. Goodbye."
Ah.
Then this lady, "Can you give me your contact information? We can be friends or something." The man in glasses saw that he had no chance with Zhang Xiaowei, so he turned his attention to Huimin. This time, it was Huimin's turn to be confused. "What a weirdo. How dare you flirt with her? Aren't you afraid that her husband will beat your brains out?" Zhang Xiaowei laughed. "You're married?" The man in glasses looked at Huimin in disappointment.
Okay.
Huimin nodded. "That's a pity." The man in glasses picked up his bag and walked out of the restaurant dejectedly. Huimin got into Zhang Xiaowei's car and couldn't help laughing. "Your blind date is too weird. That's considered normal. I've met that kind of science fanatic before. He's a chemistry fanatic and often makes explosions. Even when he eats with me, he brings all kinds of explosives. It's too scary. He even calls himself a lonely genius." "Haha, it seems like it's quite difficult to find a partner these days." Huimin chuckled. "That's right. That's why I'm so envious that you managed to win over your husband in high school." Since Zhang Xiaowei was right, Huimin smiled embarrassedly at the entrance of the hospital. Zhang Xiaowei got out of the car to send Huimin back to the hospital. "Aren't you going up to sit for a while?" "No, I have a hypnosis session with a patient in the afternoon." "Oh, right. I'm still paying attention to Ni Yang's condition. Call me the next time you have a session." "Okay." Huimin nodded. "Also, thank you for today. You can come with me. You treated me to a big meal too." Huimin chuckled. Zhang Xiaowei seemed to be in a good mood. She flashed her two little canine teeth, then she smiled and said goodbye to Huimin. When they walked out, Wei Liao and Tang Chuan happened to be walking out of South Side as well. Apparently, Tang Chuan's girlfriend, oh no, his partner, had too much fun with him last night. The girl's back and legs hurt, and she was hospitalized. To comfort the girl, Tang Chuan personally sent over a check for 200,000 yuan to settle the matter. It's so damn expensive to pick up girls these days. A nurse costs 200,000 yuan. Wei Liao chuckled. "Isn't that normal? Last time, Didn't Lord Su buy a pink Lamborghini for a nurse that cost over 10 million yuan? Although she didn't want it in the end. Tang Chuan recalled the time when Su chased after Humin. How can that be the same? Your ass. Lord Su is in love with her. What's the difference?
Their ultimate goal is the same.
Lord Su still wants to sleep with her, doesn't he? The two of them went back and forth suddenly. Tang Chuan saw the beauty in front of him. She had long legs and was wearing a miniskirt. He immediately became playful. He yelled, "Hey, beauty, your sanitary napkin fell off." Jiang Shaowei didn't even turn her head. She calmly replied, "No, I'll give it to you for lunch." Wei Liao and Tang Chuan almost vomited blood. Chapter 644. Jiang Shaowei didn't even look back. She threw out the sentence and walked away in a carefree manner. Then, she got into a low-key Lexus. Wei Liao and Tang Chuan only saw the side of her face. She's a killer profile. Wei Liao felt it was a pity that he didn't get to see her face. She's a bourgeois who drives a Lexus. She's probably a long-legged beauty, but her words aren't pleasant to the ears. Tang Chuan was speechless when he thought about how he failed to tease her and was rebutted. You're blaming her for being unpleasant to the ears? Didn't you make fun of her when you teased her? Wei Liao laughed. Hurry up and take a picture of her license plate number. We'll investigate her in the traffic department. Tang Chuan suggested. Forget it, you haven't cleaned up your mess yet. You have to be careful when you're dating, Wei Liao kindly reminded him. It's just a matter of money. I don't lack money. The problem is, if you meet someone who doesn't care about money but lives, you'd be an idiot. If you don't marry her, she'll turn your world upside down. I don't think so. I can't be that unlucky. Tang Chuan was still hoping for a fluke. If you walk by the river, your shoes will eventually get wet. Wei Liao smiled and patted Tang Chuan on the shoulder. Humin had never seen Jiang Shaowei go on a blind date like this. He wanted to laugh out loud. That guy in glasses was really stressed out. Actually, with Jiang Shaowei's personality, she could handle a small matter like this in minutes. As for why she insisted on coming to Southside to pick up Humin, it was probably because it was too boring to eat alone. When Humin came back in the afternoon, Director Li happened to be in the office. Humin. Director Li Humin immediately stood up. How's N.I. Yang's case? Is there any progress? Department Director Li had just returned from studying abroad and seemed to be very interested in N.I. Yang's medical records. Yes, there's progress. N.I. Yang can now fall asleep normally, but the rest will take some time. After all, depression can't be cured immediately, Humin explained. Well done. I heard that you used a very strange treatment. When Director Li came back, he also found that the hospital had changed a lot. Deputy Director Gua, who had been a parasite for many years, and his brother-in-law had quietly entered the hospital to eat box lunches. This is so satisfying. The young nurses at Southside would privately talk about how Humin had saved the young nurse that day and secretly gave him a thumbs up. Director Li had also heard about it. He had also spoken to N.I. Yang when he came back, so he was very impressed with Humin. I was just giving it a try. I didn't expect it to work so well. Here's a form for you to fill out. Director Li handed him a blank form. What's this? Humin looked at the form and was a little confused. This is a survey form from our Psychiatry Research Center. You can fill it out however you want. Really? Humin had a bad feeling about this. I'm already in my 50s. Why would I lie to you? Director Li smiled kindly. Okay, I'll fill it out and send it to you in a bit. Director Li nodded. I learned a lot from my trip abroad. I'll organize the information and send it to your email. Remember to check it out when you're free. It'll be helpful. Okay. Humin truly felt that Director Li liked him a lot. He was even willing to share such a private project with him. After Director Li left, Humin continued to work. After making ward rounds, he returned to the on-call desk and gave some instructions to the young nurses. Then, he saw a young nurse walk over with a small bamboo basket. Head nurse. Hello, he said timidly. Chapter 645. Humin turned around and saw the nurse he saved from scumbag Chi the other day. Oh, it's you? Humin smiled. Head nurse, you saved me last time, and I haven't thanked you yet. These are free-range eggs my dad brought from his hometown. They're very nutritious. It's our stupid chicken, I hope you don't mind. The nurse held up a small bamboo basket with both hands to show her sincerity. You don't have to be so polite. Humin really didn't save her for her gratitude, so he didn't want her to accept it. What day and age are we living in? Why would the head nurse care about your eggs when she drives an Audi R8? Seriously? The nurses from the orthopedics department mocked her. The nurse's cheeks were slightly red as she held up the bamboo basket. Feeling a little awkward, it was indeed a little embarrassing, but she really didn't have anything to give her. The head nurse drove a $1 million luxury car, and as an intern nurse, her monthly salary wasn't even as expensive as the head nurse's car maintenance. So, what else could she give her? After much consideration, she discussed it with her boyfriend and decided to give him some local specialties from her hometown. She was born in the countryside, so she called her father back home, and her father took a 10-hour-long train ride here. She brought 200 free-range eggs, kept 100 for herself, and planned to give the remaining 100 to Humin to express her sincerity. However, she didn't expect to be mocked after hearing these words. Humin's face darkened. She gave me sincerity, and sincerity is priceless. There are many things in this world that can't be measured with money. Being responsible will make you lose the beauty of the world. The nurses pouted and didn't say anything. Humin carefully took the bamboo basket and opened it to take a look. What beautiful eggs. Thank you, and thank your father for me. The nurse's eyes were slightly filled with surprise. Head nurse, if you like, I'll give you more in the future. Okay, after I finish eating, I'll come back to you. But next time, I'll have to pay you. I'll buy your free-range eggs for a long time, okay? Humin smiled. No. If you like it, I'll give it to you for free. It'll always be free. The nurse was flattered. Okay. In order not to embarrass the young nurse, Humin agreed to whatever she said with a smile. Then, he saw the young nurse leave in a good mood. Respecting others was Humin's most basic requirement for himself. Nothing would change because of his identity. After a busy afternoon, Humin drove to the supermarket after work. She bought a lot of fresh watercolors and fruits because Mr. Chin was coming back today. After being busy for a few days, the matters in Tea City finally came to an end. She was going to cook a delicious meal for Mr. Chin, 4 dishes and a soup, stir-fried shredded pork with green beans, and steamed eggs with dried shrimps. The eggs were native eggs sent by the nurse, and even the egg yolks were golden. There was also braised carp, braised chicken feet, and beef radish soup. A fragrant aroma filled the air. Although their home in Imperial Park wasn't as luxurious and spacious as South Hill Manor, Humin liked it very much. After everything was done, she put on an apron and combed her hair into a ponytail. She sat on the sofa and took out her phone. Mr. Chin, where are you? I'm still in Tea City. Huh? You're still there? Didn't you say you'd be back in the afternoon? Humin was slightly disappointed. Something came up, and I needed to take care of it. Oh, I thought you'd be back, so I prepared dinner for you. Okay. Humin's voice message was filled with disappointment. She put away her phone and took a deep breath. She walked up to the dining table and was about to eat when she heard the sound of a key unlocking the door. Humin didn't even have time to put on her shoes. She ran up barefoot and hugged Chin Chu's waist. You bad guy, didn't you say you were in Tea City? Chapter 646. I'm just teasing you. Chin Chu lovingly patted Humin's head. I miss you so much. You're not leaving this time, right? Humin felt extremely insecure. Yeah, it's all done. Chin Chu let go of Humin, took off his jacket, and went to the kitchen to wash his hands. What are we going to do? Did you find out who caused the accident? Humin asked worriedly. The person in charge of the accident has fled overseas and can't be found. We can only take the blame personally. However, because I don't want to affect our company's reputation, I investigated the manufacturer who provided the raw materials and sued them in court. The legal team has already gone over there to go through the legal procedures. Humin nodded. seemingly relieved. What about the compensation for the family members? Other than the compensation that we gave before, I added another 2 million yuan to each of them. The family members of the deceased will be compensated another 800,000 yuan. Our company will pay for this money first. After we win the lawsuit, we'll see if those unscrupulous and black-hearted manufacturers will compensate us. That's good. The dust has finally settled. Honey, you've been working hard these past few days. Huamin walked over and hugged Qin Chu's neck coquettishly. She rubbed her chin against Qin Chu's. Perhaps because she had been too busy, she looked a little haggard. Qin Chu's chin had a faint stubble which made Huamin feel a slight prickle. You're the one who's been working the hardest. You've been worried about me, and you even have to solve the company's crisis when I'm not around. Honey, it's so good to have you. Qin Chu lowered his head and gently kissed Huamin's lips. It was a light kiss, but it was filled with love. Okay, let's stop being so sentimental. Let's eat. Okay. Then, the couple sat down to eat. Honey, do an exclusive interview with me tomorrow. What exclusive interview? Huamin was a little confused. I accepted an interview with Legend. I want to bring you with me tomorrow. Qin Chu ate slowly and methodically. Myth? Huamian knew that this was an interview that was very influential in the country. The host was the most famous female host in the mainland, Jinlan. The people she interviewed were all influential people, and they were all big shots in the financial world and superstars in the sports world. Are you saying that you want me to go on TV with you? The ratings were terrifying. Huamin was a little worried. I'm not asking you to go on TV with me. I want to announce our relationship to the world. After hearing Qin Chu's words, Hu was a little bit. She didn't seem to want to go on announce their relationship, not going to keep their marriage secret. Seeing that Huamin didn't want to go on the record, Qin Chu put down his chopsticks and looked at her gently. Honey, we can't keep it a secret forever. I'm a public figure after all, and the whole company knows that you're my wife. The news has already spread. Why don't we take the opportunity to go public? What are you worried about? On the way home, Qin Chu kept thinking about how he should announce their relationship on Legend tomorrow. No, he should announce their marriage. Even though the wedding hadn't been held yet, the fact that they were legally married still had to be announced. That way, so you wouldn't be able to get close to Huamin so easily, right? After all, getting close to a married man was a lot of pressure. Qin Chu's suggestion was selfish. Even though he won this time, he didn't want to underestimate Suyu. Chapter 647. I know. I just think that if we go public, I'll be labeled as Qin Chu's wife, and I won't be able to live a peaceful life in the future. Huamin knew that once the news got out, it would be an explosive piece of news that would set off a storm. It doesn't matter what the label is, the most important thing is that you're my wife. Isn't that the truth? Qin Chu smiled. You're right. Huamin nodded, thinking that Qin Chu had a point. GK's 30-year anniversary party is in a few days. You can attend as my wife. Honey, you're used to keeping a low profile. It's okay for you to show up once in a while. After all, you have to make all the women who have designs on your husband give up. I think you just want to make all the women who have designs on me give up, right? Huamin was smart, of course. She knew what Qin Chu was thinking. You're absolutely right, honey. Qin Chu didn't try to hide it. Then okay, if you want to go public, then go public. Huamin also thought that hiding their marriage wasn't a good idea. They couldn't keep it a secret for the rest of their lives. After all, marriage was between two people. After dinner, Qin Chu and Huamin held hands and took a walk in the courtyard of their neighborhood. This was the first time they showed up in such a high-profile manner in the neighborhood since their marriage. There were many rich people living in Imperial Park, so someone secretly took photos of them and sent them to the rich circle. Hey, isn't this a photo of Huamin? Let me see. Suyu immediately lost his composure. Don't look at it, it'll hurt your heart. Wei Liao looked at Suyu sympathetically. It's okay, I'm not that fragile. Then, Suyu violently grabbed Wei Liao's phone. The photo in the WeChat group was indeed Huamin, and the man beside her was Qin Chu. Huamin was wearing a set of yellow sportswear and had her hair tied up in a ponytail. She raised her head and looked at Qin Shu with her charming eyes and charming smile. Unfortunately, the beauty was not smiling for him. Qin Shu has been making a lot of moves recently. Wasn't he very low-key in the past? Now that you're swaggering out and being photographed, are you going to announce your relationship? Wei Liao's IQ wasn't low. After analyzing the situation, he felt that it was possible. Suyu looked at the photo silently without saying a word. Look, I told you not to look. Even if you look, you'll feel stifled. You just won't listen. Wei Liao snatched his phone back. If they want to announce it, then so be it. If the sky wants to rain and the mother wants to marry, they have their own freedom. After Suyu said this calmly, he picked up a glass of wine from the table and drank 3 glasses in a row. Wei Liao always mocked Suyu, but after all, they had been buddies for so many years. Seeing him like this made him very uncomfortable. Lord Su, or else. Before he could finish, Suyu interrupted him. If you're trying to persuade me to give up, then don't say it. It's meaningless. You're too stubborn. There are plenty of other women in the world. Why do you have to make things difficult for yourself? With your influence, you can shake the entire country with just a flick of your finger. You can pick any woman you want. Wei Liao sighed softly. Humans are all monkeys. They're all cheap. There are too many women out there, and I only like Huimin. There's no saving you. I don't need saving. This is good. Although Suyu was in pain, he was very grateful for a woman like Huimin, because Huimin's appearance seemed to be the turning point in his life. Even his way of life had completely changed. He didn't live a ridiculous life like before. He didn't hang out with actresses and drink with prostitutes. He suddenly had a goal in life, so he was happy and in pain. After Qin Shu and Huimin came back from a walk in the neighborhood, Huimin felt a little stuffy, so she went straight into the bathroom to take a shower. However, just as she took off her clothes, the door was suddenly pushed open. Huimin was so scared that her first reaction was to cover her private parts. What are you doing? Doing? That's a good idea. I'll satisfy you. Then, Qin Shu smiled evilly and began to unbutton his shirt. Chapter 648. Ah, pervert. Huimin screamed in fright. Wasn't it too exciting? They hadn't had sex in a few days, and now Mr. Qin was doing something so exciting as soon as he came back. Were they going to take a bath together? Qin Shu couldn't wait any longer, because he knew that Huimin's period was coming soon. So, he wanted to eat her up first and satisfy his cravings. Luckily, there was only 1 unit per floor on the top floor, so the soundproofing was very strong. Therefore, he didn't have to worry about the neighbors hearing Huimin's screams. The truth was, Huimin was shy, but she was more than happy to play along with Mr. Qin. People say that sex is only possible with love. When you love someone deeply, you will unconsciously want to possess them. Whether it was a man or a woman, there was no exception. Drenched in the rain, the warm water splashed onto the tiles, creating a thick mist. Their bodies were entwined together, creating a beautiful scene. Huimin felt that every time she kissed Qin Shu, her mind would go blank. She didn't have time to think about anything else. Everything followed his rhythm. To enjoy, to find the peak of happiness, Huimin was the shy type. So no matter how much pleasure she took, she would only bite her lips and whisper. She would never moan in bed, however. It was this restrained shyness that made Qin Shu even more captivated and addicted. He felt like he couldn't get enough of her in the end. He was exhausted. The two of them lay on the wide bed and fell asleep in each other's arms. Tonight was another beautiful night ever. Since the incident in T-City, Huimin couldn't sleep well because she was always thinking about Qin Shu. It was hard for her to fall asleep alone. Now that Qin Shu was back and holding her in his arms, she greedily inhaled the unique scent of male hormones on his body. She felt so happy. The truth was, Huimin was an extremely insecure person. Many times, she felt like she didn't deserve to live such a happy life. Every time she slept next to Qin Shu, her worries would completely disappear. She was already in a deep sleep. However, she still held Qin Shu's hand tightly with one hand. Qin Shu's palms were sweating because Huimin's grip was too tight, but he still couldn't bear to let go. He knew that she didn't feel safe. Chin Chu quietly hugged his beloved wife and slowly fell asleep. The next day, Humin drove straight to GK after work. Then, she got into Chin Chu's Maybach and went to the TV station. Her clothes and styling were all designed by GK stylists. Not ostentatious, low-key luxurious, just now was the character of the two. "Hubby, do you want to rehearse?" "No need." "Then, will I say something wrong?" Humin had never been on such an important TV program before, so he seemed very nervous. Back when she was the top scholar in the middle school examination, she had never been so afraid when she was interviewed by the media. "Don't be afraid, I'm here." Chin Chu tightly held Humin's hand and encouraged her. "Okay." Humin nodded. Just then, the TV station staff walked into the VIP lounge. "President Chin, Lady Chin can start now." "Okay." Chin Chu stood up, grabbed Humin's hand, and slowly walked towards the studio. In order to make the show more effective, there were a few hundred people in the studio. Humin and Chin Chu both wore casual suits. Chin Chu wore black, and Humin wore white. They were both luxurious Italian custom-made, simple and elegant. Humin also wore her hair up, which was rare for her, and looked smart and capable. She wore light Korean-style nude makeup, and at a glance, she was definitely very good-looking. When she stood next to Chin Chu, she didn't lose to him at all, and they actually looked very compatible. Next, let us give our warmest applause to today's guests, GK Corporation CEO, Mr. Chin Chu, and his wife, Humin. Then, thunderous applause followed. Chin Chu held Chin Chu's hand and walked into the studio, into the audience's line of sight. The legend aired every Sunday at noon, and because of the prime time slot, the ratings were very high. It was broadcasted live nationwide. President's office at Imperial Star, President's office at Ho Corporation. It was broadcasted live on a 60-inch LCD TV. Humin's appearance stunned XX and XX. "President Su, lunch is ready." "Wait." Su Yu waved his hand and sent his secretary away. Then he stared at the TV screen. Chapter 649. Nice to meet you, President Chin and Mrs. Chin. The host, Jean Lon, smiled elegantly and walked up to shake their hands. "Nice to meet you, Sister Jean Lon." Humin was very humble because Jean Lon was in her 40s and was a capable middle-aged woman. "Don't be nervous. Please sit down." Jean Lon waved her hand, and the three of them sat down on the long chairs that were prepared for them. "I heard that you two are very low-key and rarely show yourselves, right?" Jean Lon asked with a smile. Humin looked at Chin Chu, and Chin Chu gestured for her to answer. She smiled and replied, "MHM, we don't like to expose ourselves too much. It disrupts our lives." Jean Lon, yes, the public doesn't know that President Chin is married. You guys are very good at keeping secrets. When did you guys get your marriage certificate? I'm curious. Humin, about 4 months ago, almost 5 months ago. Jean Lon, how did he propose to you back then? Humin, he didn't propose. We got our marriage certificate right away because we were close. We were high school classmates after all. Jean Lon, speaking of which, I have to ask President Chin, I heard that you studied abroad in the States for 7 years. During that time, you guys didn't contact each other, and you got your marriage certificate right after you came back. I don't understand what you did, so I'll ask you on behalf of everyone, how did you plan this? Chin Chu was silent for a few seconds, and then he replied, "It's simple. When I first saw Humin many years ago, I already knew that she was going to be my wife. So, regardless of whether we contacted each other or not, marrying her was something that I had to do for the rest of my life." Then, thunderous applause sounded from the audience. Chin Chu's answer was extremely firm, showing them the sincerity of his love. Jean Lon, wow. I didn't know that President Chin was such a devoted person. Do you guys fight often? Humin, almost never. We have a tacit understanding. Jean Lon, then, if you two disagree on something, who should you listen to? Chin Chu, my wife's words are the standard. The audience gasped in surprise. He didn't expect the Emperor of GK to love his wife so much. Chin Chu and Humin went on the show to tell the world that they were married. Then they would expose some of their daily love affairs. It was simply the rhythm of torturing single dogs to death. Su Yu stared at the screen. He only looked at Huimin. Her every frown and smile seemed to have an extraordinary charm. He couldn't look away. On the other hand, Hua Xiqian laughed nonchalantly. That sister of mine is finally showing off her love in public. It seems like someone is going to declare their territorial sovereignty. Qin family mansion, who allowed our son to be interviewed? Are you going to do something about it or not? Lady Qin was furious. He even called the TV station to find fault with them, indicating that he wanted to cut off the live broadcast. However, they ignored her. In the end, she vented her frustrations on Qin Yumin. Our son is all grown up and can make his own decisions. We shouldn't cause trouble for him. At our age, we're enjoying our old age. Don't be so calculative. Qin Yumin calmly watched the TV. At our age, Huimin, that little vixen, only knows how to seduce Chu and stir up trouble. Now, she's encouraging our son to go on the live broadcast and announce their relationship. Great. Now the whole world knows that she's the daughter-in-law of the Qin family. How am I supposed to explain this to those rich wives? I've been telling them that my son is single, and I even asked them to keep an eye out for potential daughters-in-law. Isn't this slapping me in the face? No wonder Lady Qin was so angry. It was because she was slapped in the face. That's your own fault. Qin Yumin didn't help his wife this time. Ever since Huimin came to eat last time, he had silently acknowledged Huimin's existence. He even took advantage of the fact that he was still in good health to hold his grandchild and enjoy the joy of family life. Lady Qin, on the other hand, couldn't let go of Huimin and viewed her as a thorn in her side. No, I have to think of a way to deal with her. I can't let that little vixen stir up trouble in the Qin family. Then, Lady Qin got up and went upstairs. GK headquarters, all of the employees were watching the president's live broadcast during their lunch break, and they were all excited. A young lady is so elegant. I like her so much. Many female employees praised. Jiang Linyue's expression was grim. Director Jiang, what do you think? Someone who didn't know what was going on asked Jiang Linyue for her opinion. Chapter 650. I don't think a young lady is that special. I heard that she was born a commoner and graduated from a third-rate university. She's just an ordinary head nurse. She's not pretty, and her body isn't hot either. I don't know what President Qin sees in her, but the only reason she's able to drive a $1 million luxury car is because of President Qin. But in my opinion, being able to marry into a rich family only proves that she's very scheming, very scheming. I don't think a woman who tried everything to marry into a rich family in high school is very pure. Jiang Linyue commented as she sipped on her iced coffee. Her words were extremely sharp, and the employees around her didn't dare to say anything if they spoke up for Jiang Linyue. They would offend a young lady. If they spoke up for a young lady, it wouldn't do them any good to offend Jiang Linyue. After all, she wasn't someone to be trifled with. After dinner, everyone went their separate ways. Jiang Linyue was filled with anger, so she didn't eat much. She didn't expect them to announce their relationship so soon, however. Announcing their relationship had its benefits. This way, Huimin would be at the center of attention, right? Jiang Linyue was right. That night, a local forum exposed some news about Huimin's background. The title was GK's A Young Lady, the most scheming bitch in the world. Then, it listed Huimin's 10 sins, with a lot of black dots. First, she had a boyfriend before, but in order to marry into a rich family, she dumped her innocent college boyfriend. Second, in order to marry into a rich family, she instigated Qin Shu to move out of the Qin family and maintain a stalemate with Lady Qin. Third, her mother used to be a mistress. If the upper beam isn't straight, the lower beam will be crooked. Fourth, she always acted like she didn't care about money, but because she hooked up with Qin Shu, she lived in a mansion and drove a $1 million luxury car. Fifth, she used GK's name to buy her brother's sports car. Sixth, she had a close relationship with superstar An Yang. Apparently, An Yang betrayed his manager and Imperial Star Entertainment for her. Seventh, in order to clear her name, she continuously defamed her ex-boyfriend, causing Ning Ziyuan to almost be fired by the hospital. Eighth, he once acted like a pretentious prick. He didn't have a doctor's certificate, but he performed a C-section on a pregnant woman and caused her bodily harm. Number 9. Once, when he was drinking at the seductive Fox nightclub, he got into an argument with someone and was suppressed by the Chin family. Number 10. A while ago, he was sent to the police station for assaulting someone. He framed the deputy director of Southside just to get promoted. In conclusion, Hwamin was truly a scheming bitch. Once the news came out, it caused a huge commotion. The comments from the netizens were overwhelming. Most of them were scolding Hwamin. That was how the internet worked. Many people did not know the truth, so they started scolding him. When the news exploded, Siu was eating hot pot with Wei Liao, and the others. Wei Liao swiped his phone and said, Hwamin is in trouble now. Maybe he was too high-profile and attracted hate. What's going on? Suyu raised his head. As long as there was news about Hwamin, he couldn't help but ask, take a look for yourself. Wei Liao handed him his phone. After Suyu read it, his face immediately darkened. Find out the IP address of the person who leaked the news. I think he's tired of living. Lord Su calmed down. Her husband isn't worried. Why are you? Plus, you're not in a position to clear his name. You should just wait and see. I can't do that either. This isn't the truth. Suyu had investigated Hwamin thoroughly, so he knew the truth better than anyone else. What if Hwamin was really a scheming bitch? How could he not see through her? Lord Su, this is normal. There are a lot of poor people these days, and most of them hate the rich. They can't stand to see others doing well. It's reasonable for them to slander Hwamin like this. But with Hwamin's current status and identity, he's not someone who can be shaken by a few dirty tricks. Don't worry, Tang Chuan advised. When Hwamin saw the news, she was having dinner with Chin Chu at a Korean restaurant. She picked up her phone and glanced at it. Then, she smiled and said, Who wrote this? It seems like they know me very well. When I decided to go public, I knew something like this would happen. In the future, things like this will happen more and more. Honey, are you scared? Chin Chu looked up and stared into Hwamin's eyes as he asked, word for word. Chapter 651. If I was scared, I wouldn't be Chin Chu's wife. Was she scared? Of course she wasn't. She was the fearless Hwamin who would get through anything. Although gossip was scary, she had to be willing to listen to it. Why should she listen to those people who purposely slandered her and twisted the truth? She would just treat them as bullshit. Hwamin's words touched Chin Chu slightly. He knew that his wife had always been a resilient little blade of grass growing against the wind. GK's public relations company wasn't an idiot. When something happened, they immediately defended the company and the Chin clan's interests. They even hired a bunch of ghostwriters to go against those who purposely slandered her online. That night, Chin Chu was working in his study. Hwamin was lying on the sofa, playing with her phone and eating snacks. Then, she accidentally logged onto Weibo, which she hadn't been on for a long time. Her fans went from a few hundred to 600,000 overnight. Her most recent comment was also flooded by her fans. There were more than 20,000 retweets and more than 10,000 comments. One of the top comments said, Hwamin, I like you a lot. Although I didn't know you well before, I know that it wasn't easy for you to walk beside Chin Chu and become his wife. You fulfilled the legend of our Cinderella marrying a prince. Don't care what others say, I'll always support you. This comment also received more than 500 likes. Some of the comments were even harsher. Then, Hwamin's fans fought with those anti-fans. It was a lively scene. Hwamin, you scheming bitch, give me back my husband. You little bitch, why did you steal my Chin Chu? Hwamin, what right do you have to be by his side? You don't deserve it. I hope you guys get a divorce soon. All in all, the comments online were extremely vicious. If Hwamin's heart was made of glass, it would probably be broken into pieces by now, but she wasn't. Although she was only 24 years old, she had seen a lot and was very calm. Faced with the overwhelming pressure of public opinion, Hwamin was not in a hurry to explain, nor was he angry. She just casually wrote a Weibo post. The past is thick, the color is clear, and the past is light. After years of sorrow and joy, It is as clear as a mirror. Then, there was a picture of a lotus below. This sentence was extremely thought-provoking. Those who didn't have any ink would probably not be able to understand it. After this Weibo post was posted, it immediately caused another stir. Pretentious fool. She clearly graduated from a third-rate university, yet she wants to pretend to be a goddess.
Disgusting.
Hwamin, can you be more shameless? Please let go of Chin Shu and go back to your Dr. Ex-boyfriend. Hwamin, you can do it. I support you. That's a very zen sentence. Die-hard fans from elementary school wouldn't understand it. A young lady from GK is very meaningful. I support Chin Shu and Hwamin together. No matter what, Hwamin is still a member of the Hwa family. You're all little bitches who hate the rich. Hwamin, why don't you post a picture? I saw you on TV. You're so pretty and elegant. Also, where did you buy your clothes? Please link to them. Are you retarded? His clothes are custom-made by a luxury Italian brand. It's the same style as President Chin's. Do you think it's from some store? Please link to them. Your IQ is really low. Please link to the background music for Hwamin and Chin Shu's live stream today. Thank you so much. The fans once again started a war of words. Some were true fans of Hwamin, while others were anti-fans of Hwamin. Many media outlets also reported in real time a young lady from GK Updates Weibo seems to be low-key response to scandal. Hwamin was just about to exit Weibo when he received a private message from Suyu. Are you okay? Suyu's timely greeting warmed Hwamin's heart. Chapter 652. Sometimes, a lot of people cared about how high you flew, but very few cared about how tired you were. Suyu asked, "Are you okay?" Hwamin was very grateful. "I'm fine. Don't worry about that. You can withstand as much slander as praise." Suyu actually knew how to use chicken soup for the soul. Hwamin smiled. "Don't worry, I'm in a good mood. I knew something like this would happen when we exposed ourselves." Chin Shu was a bit brainless this time. Isn't it good to keep your marriage a secret? Why did he have to go public? Isn't he trying to attract hate for you? So you didn't understand Chin Shu's actions this time. Did he love Hwamin or hurt Hwamin? If he wanted to protect her, he had to keep a low profile. Why did he have to go live? It's good to go public. Sooner or later, I won't be able to hide it. I walked the red carpet at GK Film and Television's opening ceremony, and a lot of media outlets are already digging into it. Rather than letting others expose me, I might as well admit it myself. Okay, if you need anything, remember to call me. Thank you. Then, the two fell silent after Hwamin copied the post. She posted it on her WeChat friend circle. Zhu Lingling immediately liked it. "I'll always support you, my beautiful girl." The Qin clan couple has been torturing single people for 30 years. Haha, they specialize in torturing single people like us. Gao Ran continued to tease her. "Sis, I support you, hang in there," Jixing commented. "Senior sister, you can do it, you're the best, Moab." "Head nurse, you can do it. Head nurse, we love you. Head nurse, you're the best in the universe." The following were comments from the nurses at Southside. Just then, another comment appeared. "Sister Mian, remember one thing. No matter how you live your life, we only have one goal. Don't go against your heart, and don't regret it. Also, go fuck yourself, and go fuck yourself. Do whatever you want." This was Anai Yang's comment. This was the first time the gloomy superstar had cursed. Luckily, only Hwamin could see it. "I'm fine. Don't worry. Your big sister Hwamin is an unkillable cockroach," Hwamin replied. After Chin Shu finished his work in the study, he received a phone call. "President Chin, we found that person's IP address. It's in a dilapidated residential area in the north. But when our people arrived, that person had already run away. It seems that he came prepared." Okay. Continue to check her IP address. If you can't find it, check the online accounts of those paid posters. Then, Chin Shu made a few more calls to influential media outlets. The media started to publish articles that cleared Hwamin's name, but at this time, another incident pushed the matter to a climax. Lady Chin was interviewed by a small newspaper. Then, she made it clear that Hwamin wasn't her ideal daughter-in-law and that she didn't think highly of their marriage. She also said that her son might have been confused and wouldn't admit that Huamin was part of the Qin family. Like a stone that stirred up 1,000 ripples, Lady Qin's words had a lot of lethality. After all, she was someone with a high status. After Qin Chu finished reading the interview, his face turned green. He immediately called his mother's phone, but it was turned off then. He called her home. The nanny picked up. "Young master, where's my mom? Put her on the phone." "She's not here. She went out and hasn't come back yet." "What about my dad?" "Master's upstairs."
Put my dad on the phone.
Qin Chu suppressed his anger. His mother adding to the mess at a time like this made him completely furious. He couldn't tolerate Huamin being wronged even a little bit. "Dad, what's the situation with my mom?" "She's probably very upset because you announced your marriage. She keeps saying that she was slapped in the face and that she didn't know how to explain it to those rich people."
"Where's she?"
"She went out and hasn't come back yet." "Okay, I got it." After speaking, Qin Chu hung up the phone. Wei Liao and the others quickly saw the interview and said, "Lady Qin is slapping her son in the face. She really hit him hard this time."
Huamin is in trouble now.
His mother-in-law publicly refused to acknowledge him, causing Huamin's status in the Qin family to plummet. "Lord Su, what do you think about this?" Wei Liao looked at Su Yu. Chapter 653. "I'm not Yuan Fong. Don't ask me what I think," Su Yu teased as he played with his phone. Huamin's road to becoming rich is full of twists and turns. I don't think her mother-in-law is easy to deal with. She's not as nice as your auntie. Of course, my mom said that as long as I have a grandson, she doesn't care where I go. She doesn't care if I'm with a man or not. Pfft, your auntie is so open-minded. Although the Qin family has a big business, it's still not as big as the Su family. After all, your grandfather is the head of the military, but even so, your family is really lax. My family is stricter than yours. I'm jealous. Wei Liao was telling the truth. The Su family's way of educating their children was free-range. There was only one Su Yu in this generation, so they spoiled him even more. No matter how unreliable he was, the Su family wouldn't step in to stop him. Of course, Lord Su said that Su Yu could play around, but he would never allow him to do anything outrageous. So, other than the fact that Lord Su loved to burn money and chase girls, he had a good reputation. When Lady Qin slapped Qin Chu and Huamin's secret marriage, the news spread like wildfire. When Qin Chu returned to the bedroom, Huamin was already lying on the bed, playing games on her phone. She didn't seem to be affected by the news. "Honey, yeah? Did you see the news?" "Which one?" Huamin asked nonchalantly as she played her game. "The interview my mom just did," Qin Chu said, suppressing his anger. "Oh, I saw it." Huamin was very calm. Lady Qin didn't like her for a day or two. It would be scary if she said how much she liked her in an interview. Her direct dislike of her made Huamin feel a lot better. "You're not mad?" Qin Chu asked tentatively. "Why would I be mad? It's not like it's the first time your mom is like this." Huamin smiled. "I'm sorry. I didn't think she'd be so naughty. She's already so old." Qin Chu walked over and picked Huamin up from the bed. Huamin threw her phone onto the bed and hugged Qin Chu's neck coquettishly. "So, how are you going to make it up to me? We did it twice today. Does that count as compensation?" Qin Chu's lips curled up as he looked at her gently. "Huamin." Before Huamin's words, "Huamin." "Well, of course, Hurestes. I'm Huamin's Tut, and mean." "Young master, you're back? Is my mom back?" Qin Chu asked faintly. "She just came back. She's upstairs." "Okay." Qin Chu went upstairs and pushed open the bedroom door. Lady Qin was proudly talking to her husband about something. She was surprised to see her son. "Chu, why didn't you tell me you were coming so late?" "Mom, what do you want?" Qin Chu frowned slightly and spoke in a harsh tone. "I didn't do anything. What's wrong with me?" Lady Qin said nonchalantly as she took off her scarf. "It's a fact that I married Huamin. It's also a fact that I hate her." "What's wrong with that? Just because you like her, Does that mean the whole world likes her? Lady Qin suddenly raised her voice and yelled. Qin Chu looked at his mother with a slightly disappointed expression after hearing what she said. Chapter 654. Mom, I thought you were just angry at me for hiding the truth from you. No matter how bad Humin is, she's still part of our family. I can't believe you teamed up with an outsider to expose our dirty laundry. It's fine if you don't care about our reputation, but you also don't care about the company's reputation. That's quite a ruthless move. I didn't want to disregard the company's reputation. If you were thinking about the company, you shouldn't have married Humin. Don't lecture me. Although I don't know anything about managing a company, I still understand the principles. Lady Qin couldn't stand her son defending Humin. Therefore, she was also angry. Every time her son said something, she would refute it. Fine, if you say that, then I have nothing else to say. Before you think things through, I don't think we'll be coming back to this house. After Qin Chu spoke, he turned around and left. Hey, stop right there. No matter how much Lady Qin yelled, Qin Chu refused to stop. Young master, I made some sweet soup, the maid said weakly as she stood guard by the stairs. I'm not eating. After saying this, Qin Chu coldly left the house. He basically said that he wouldn't come back until he forgave them. Say something, are you mute? Look at your spoiled son. Lady Qin vented her anger on her husband. Qin Yuman was reading a history book. He was wearing reading glasses and seemed a lot calmer. I'm not the only one who spoiled my son. Plus, I don't think he did anything wrong. He managed the company very well and handled the accident in T-City very well. I'm very satisfied. What's the point of that? A successful career doesn't mean everything. Look at what kind of woman your good son chose, huh? Open your eyes wide and take a good look. Lady Qin roared. Qin Yuman took off his reading glasses and looked at his wife. What's wrong with Humin? Other than the fact that she didn't come from a good family and didn't go to a good university, what's wrong with her? She's not good at all. She doesn't look good, and she has a bad temper. You don't know how rude she is to me. You respect me, and I'll respect you. You treated her like that, and she's treating you nicely. Do you think she's a fool? Qin Yuman retorted.
All right.
You're all against me, aren't you? I really can't live anymore. Sister Lan, Lady Qin shouted. Madam, clean up the guest room. I'm going to sleep in the guest room. Lady Qin walked out as she spoke.
This?
The maid looked at Qin Yuman awkwardly. Let her be. Qin Yuman was used to his wife throwing tantrums. He had tolerated her bad temper all these years, but now that she was older, she was getting more and more out of hand. Not only did he meddle in the affairs of the younger generation, he even slapped his own son's face. He was getting more and more overboard. Lady Qin's revelations did add a lot of dirt on Humin. Zhu Lingling and Jixin both sent Humin a WeChat message and asked about it. However, Humin was very calm and said that it was nothing. The next morning, Humin went to work as usual. The employees at Southside seemed to be used to this, and they all knew Humin's personality. Only a few gossipy people would talk about it in private. No one else would talk about this matter anymore. At noon, things took a turn for the worse. The reason was that Hu Zhenghai personally confirmed Huamin's identity. He even said that he and Huamin's mother were in love and that she wasn't a mistress. He also said that they broke up peacefully because of differences in their personalities and that Humin had always been the daughter of the Hu family. As for Lady Qin's disagreement, Hu Zhenghai replied, "We don't ask about young people's views on love. As long as my daughter likes it, that's her freedom. Everyone thinks that their children are good for themselves. Lady Qin thinks that my daughter isn't good enough for Qin Chu, but I also think that Qin Chu isn't good enough for my daughter." These words were like a slap to Lady Qin's face. As soon as the words came out, they were reposted by all the major media outlets. Chapter 655. Who would have thought that Hu Zhenghai, as a father, would speak up for Humin one day? However, Humin wasn't happy at all. She knew that Hu Zhenghai would never do anything that would make him lose money. He must have a motive for helping her. As expected, Her mother called at noon and told her to go home for lunch. Huamin looked at the time. If she drove fast, she should be able to make it back in time for her 2-hour lunch break. So, she drove back to the old house. Her mother had prepared a table full of food, and Hu Zhenghai was there as well. The truth was, Yang Meirong didn't like Hu Zhenghai, but because he spoke up for her daughter today, she treated him nicely, which was rare of her. "Me on your back." Hu Zhenghai stood up and smiled. Huamin nodded. "Here. Eat before it gets cold." Yang Meirong scooped a bowl of rice for Huamin. "Don't suffer alone in the future, tell me. The Hu family is a respectable family. We won't let Lady Qin humiliate us like that," Hu Zhenghai said hypocritically. While her mother was scooping soup, Huamin quietly asked, "What do you want now?" "I want to help you." "So, what do you want me to say for you?" "Just say it, I don't like to beat around the bush," Huamin said coldly. "Ahem." Hu Zhenghai coughed awkwardly. Huamin was indeed meticulous. He could always see through his motives. "Here's the thing, your sister, Yan Yan." "She's not my sister," Huamin corrected him. Okay. Anyway, Yan Yan was rude to you last time. It was wrong of her. I taught her a lesson, so she really knows what she did was wrong. You're a bit older than her, so you should be more tolerant. After all, we're family, Hu Zhenghai said earnestly. "Mr. Hua, please get to the point," Huamin said as he ate with his head down. "I heard from Xiqian that you and Su are friends, so I was wondering if you could introduce Yan Yan to Su.
Ha!
You're really daring, aren't you?" Huamin raised his head and sneered. The Su family is a century-old aristocratic family. Anyone would want to marry into such a family. Although Yan Yan is absurd, she has a pure personality. If she can gain Su's favor, she can help you in the future, right? You want me to introduce that idiot Hui Yan Yan to Su? Huamin asked again. Before Hu Zhenghai could say anything, Huamin continued, "Aren't you afraid that she'll die a horrible death? Su will skin her alive in less than 3 days. It's not that serious, is it?" Hu Zhenghai was a bit embarrassed. He felt like Huamin was just trying to scare him. "You didn't even do your homework before coming to me. You're really something. First of all, Su and I aren't friends. My words won't work, because he won't listen to me. Second of all, Su doesn't like idiots and idiots. Hui Yan Yan fits all of those. Third of all, Su doesn't like women who have messy personal lives. You probably didn't investigate carefully who your precious daughter has been hanging out with. However, just because you don't know doesn't mean that Su doesn't know. So, if you ask me to do something like this and piss off Su, aren't you afraid that he'll take his anger out on the Hu Corporation?" "Oh, is that so?" Hu Zhenghai only cared about the interests of the company and didn't really care what his daughter was up to. However, Huamin knew because her affairs were often exposed in the entertainment news. She often went to nightclubs, wore heavy makeup, and hugged different men. If Su liked someone like that, then not only was Su blind, but the entire Su family was blind. "I'm grateful that you helped me, but I'm sorry, I can't help you with this." Huamin directly refused. What kind of joke was this? If she introduced Hui Yan Yan to Su, with Su's explosive temper, not only would he chop Hui Yan Yan into pieces, but he would also chop her into pieces, right? Then, how about this? When you have time, bring Qin Shu out and have some tea with me. I'll talk to him about working together. Seeing that his plan didn't work out, Hu Zhenghai was unwilling to give up, so he proposed a second condition. Huamin almost spat out the soup she was drinking. She really felt disgusted by Hu Zhenghai. There was probably no man in the world who was more materialistic than him. She really didn't know how her mother fell in love with someone like him. "What do you think? That shouldn't be hard, right?" Hu Zhenghai glanced at Huamin and asked. Chapter 656. I'll find a time to arrange it, but let me say this first. I'm only responsible for arranging for you guys to meet. As for whether or not my husband agrees to work with you, that's your business. Of course. Hu Zhenghai was obviously satisfied. Also, don't get involved in my business without my permission, Huamin said coldly. Just as Hu Zhenghai was about to say something, he saw Yang Meirong walk out with a bowl of soup, Drink it while it's hot. Okay. Huamin nodded. What were you guys talking about? Yang Meirong asked. We were talking about Mion's childhood. The truth is, I'm not good enough as a father. With Mion's talent, she should have gone to a famous university. Then, she wouldn't be looked down upon by Lady Qin and the Qin family, and she wouldn't be criticized by others. Hu Zhenghai was naturally good with words. He pretended to feel guilty because he wanted to move Yang Meirong. Yang Meirong was indeed stupid. She believed Hu Zhenghai's little tricks. Huamin sighed inwardly. He finally understood why his mother lost to Shen Jiani back then. His mother's scheming couldn't even compare to Shen Jiani's, but it was good. If it was his mother who married into the Hu family, she would have been bullied to death by Jiang Hong. The Hu family wasn't a place for humans. Those who could survive were all wolves, tigers, and leopards. So, what if our Mion didn't go to a famous university? She was born smart, so she can still do better than others. The first hospital had so many professors and doctors from famous universities. Why did they have to invite my daughter to perform surgery on the director's niece in the middle of the night? Isn't it because they valued my daughter's skills? She's now famous at Southside Recuperation Center. I don't think there's anything wrong with her. Those who twist the truth should go to hell. God will deal with those bitches. Yang Meirong naturally sided with Humin. She rambled on, but Hu Zhenghai only smiled and didn't say anything. Mom, I'm fine. Don't worry, and don't care about what other people say. If reporters come, just lock yourself in and don't come out. They won't dare to come in. If anyone crosses the line, call the police, or go visit Annie Wu during the day. Humin knew that now that he had made his relationship public, his family would definitely be harassed. I know. I'm fine. Take care of yourself, Yang Meirong said. As he was leaving home, Humin suddenly remembered that his mother had mentioned Wu Xiaoxue. He had not contacted Wu Xiaoxue for a few days. He wondered if Wu Xiaoxue had finished her confinement. He planned to visit her after work. After a busy afternoon at Southside, Humin called Wu Xiaoxue. Then, he bought a lot of baby products and drove to Wu Xiaoxue's house. On the way there, she happened to see a reporter blocking Anai Yang's way for an interview. GK has been in a lot of trouble lately. Do you regret signing with them? No, GK is doing great, and Yang replied casually. What do you think about GK's a young lady coming from a poor family and having a low education? The reporter asked. I think they're a good match. So, what if they don't come from a good family? Mao Zedong was a cowhood back then, and Zhu Yuanzong was a beggar back then. Liu Bang was a street thug. You can't judge a person by their background, but by their ability, okay? I hate people like you who talk about their backgrounds. I support President Qin and a young lady to the end. I'm their fan. Anai Yang's influence was huge because he had too many fans. Therefore, as soon as the interview was released, a large number of Anai Yang's fans immediately went to Humin's Weibo to show their support. It was a one-sided pressure from public opinion. Therefore, Lady Qin's words seemed insignificant at a time like this. No matter what she said, people would start calling her an evil mother-in-law. Humin smiled. This kid was brave enough to take a stand. The other artists under GK all remained neutral, afraid of getting into trouble. Anai Yang, on the other hand, directly blew himself up. Just then Anai Yang called, Hello. Sister Humin, did you see my interview? His voice was as excited as a child's. Chapter 657. I did. What did I say? You did great. Humin complimented. Haha. I wonder if I'll help you. Of course, your fans have flooded my Weibo and the haters, Humin said as he drove with his headphones on. That's good. Oh, right. When I have time in a few days, I'll go to the hospital to see you. I think I've slept a lot better. We can move on to the next plan. Meichem, don't worry, I'll always remember what happened to you. After hanging up with Anai Yang, Humin arrived at Wu Xiaoxue's neighborhood. She parked her car at the entrance of the neighborhood and went upstairs. Humin pressed the doorbell, and a middle-aged auntie opened the door. Hello, I'm here to see Wu Xiaoxue. Okay, come in. The auntie opened the door and let Humin in. She's in there, the auntie said as she pointed at the master bedroom. Huamin walked straight in with his bags. Xiaoxue. Huamin, you're here? Wu Xiaoxue was breastfeeding her baby, and she was sitting on the bed with the baby in her arms. You're breastfeeding? Huamin was a little surprised because very few people breastfed nowadays, especially rich people like him. Most of them used powdered milk or hired a nanny. Breastfeeding is the best food for a baby. Wu Xiaoxue smiled. Her smile was filled with the radiance of motherly love. She had gained a lot of weight, and her face was a lot rounder. However, her complexion didn't look too good, probably because she stayed up late. This is a gift for the baby. Huamin handed over the baby's clothes, shoes, and toys that he bought.
Thank you.
How long until you're out of confinement? Huamin asked as he sat on the chair beside the bed and played with the baby. 5 more days. That's fast. Yes, it's so fast. My baby will be 1 month old in 5 days. Wu Xiaoxue looked at the baby girl in her arms lovingly. Huamin looked at the baby carefully and found that her skin was white and chubby, but her eyebrows were very similar to Ning Ziyuan's. She didn't seem like Wu Xiaoxue at all. Has the baby been named yet? Huamin asked. Yes, I did. My uncle named her Wu Xinyue.
Xinyue.
Not bad, not bad. It's a nice name. President Wu is really good at naming names. But she's really going to be surnamed Wu. Are you really going to divorce Ning Ziyuan? At the mention of this, Wu Xiaoxue's eyes changed slightly. Yes, he agreed. What about the child? Does he not want it? Even if he wants it, I won't give it to him. Besides, he doesn't plan to take it. Wu Xiaoxue smiled bitterly. It's okay. You're so outstanding. You'll meet better people in the future. That's what I thought too. After feeding her, Wu Xiaoxue handed the baby to Huamian. Hold her. If you hadn't risked your life to do the surgery on me, she would have turned into a pool of blood. You saved her life. It's not that serious. I can only say that Xinyue is lucky to be your mother. Huamin had worked in the OB/GYN department before, so she was very good at holding babies. After carefully taking Xinyue in her arms, she coaxed her. What about you? Any news? Wu Xiaoxue asked. Not yet. Maybe it's not time yet. Huamin looked up and smiled. What about you? Are you leaving after confinement?
Yes.
We've already signed the divorce agreement. After I'm done with my confinement, I'll go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and get it done. The plane ticket is in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, I'll be leaving this place for good. Chicago is where I'll live in the future. Wu Xiaoxue's words were full of reluctance. It's okay. I can go to the States to visit you guys. You guys can come back to visit me. Huamin hugged Xinyue and said, Baby, grow up quickly. You'll be able to protect mommy. Wu Xiaoxue's eyes suddenly teared up. Huamin, I don't want to leave, but I have no choice. My heart is full of holes. Xiaoxue, don't cry. Be strong. Huamin felt bad when he saw Wu Xiaoxue cry. From the time she was pregnant to the birth of the child, she had never been at peace. Huamin, do you know who was behind my car accident? Wu Xiaoxue suddenly asked with hatred.
Huh?
Wasn't it an accident? Huamin was slightly surprised. Chapter 658. Of course not. He-Man is the one behind all this. He-Man? If Wu Xiaoxue hadn't mentioned her, Huamin would have almost forgotten about her existence. That evil woman doesn't like me. Maybe she thinks that Ning Ziyuan dumped her because of me, but she's just stupid. I can tell you that even without me, Ning Ziyuan still wouldn't want her. She's a piece of trash, no one would like her. Xiaoxue, you're still in confinement. Calm down and speak slowly. I've already asked someone to investigate. I had my suspicions before, so I deleted the video. You should know the person who hit me and fled. I know him. Huamin was even more surprised. Wu Xiaoxue nodded. Do you remember the pregnant woman who blackmailed you? Yeah, her husband. I don't know how that man hooked up with He-Man, but they were together for a while. During that time, they set me up while I was driving and almost killed my baby. I found that man, but he had already left He-Man. Because He-Man hooked up with Ning Ziyuan again, she dumped him. He didn't want to give up and pester her. In the end, He-Man hired thugs to break one of his legs. Really? Huamin frowned slightly. If what Wu Xiaoxue said was true, then He-Man was really evil. Yeah, so before I go abroad, I'll definitely take revenge on her. Xiaoxue, don't be silly. You're going abroad, don't get into trouble. Huamin comforted her. Don't worry, I won't kill her. Her cheap life isn't worth dirtying my hands with. I'll just tell her that evil people get what they deserve. Huamin stayed at Wu Xiaoxue's house for a while. She didn't eat the food that the nanny made. It was Wu Xiaoxue's confinement meal, so it was relatively bland before she left. Wu Xiaoxue took out a rectangular box and handed it to her. What is this? I'm about to leave, so I'll give this to you. It's a set of scalpels that I really like. I bought them from Germany, and they're of great quality. I've used them to perform a C-section on a lot of pregnant women who had difficult labor. You're such a great doctor, so I hope you can use them to save more people in the future. Of course, if you're an OB/GYN doctor, and if you don't choose to continue working in the OB/GYN department, I'll give this to you as a memento. After I go to Chicago, I won't be a doctor anymore, Wu Xiaoxue said calmly. You don't want to be a doctor anymore? Huamin looked at the set of scalpels, but did not reach out to take them. Emichim, I won't. She's still young. I have to work hard to raise her. I want to open a Chinese restaurant. It's more convenient for my tastes. I'm really not used to Western food. After speaking, Wu Xiaoxue took the initiative and stuffed the item into Huamin's hand. Thank you. Huamin felt that this set of scalpels was a little heavy. Huamin.
Goodbye.
Wu Xiaoxue seemed to be saying goodbye in advance. Send me your itinerary when you're leaving. I'll see you off. It's okay, there's a different time zone. My flight is in the morning, so I'll be with my family. Don't worry. Then remember to call me. Huamin was a little sad to see her go. I will. You too. I hope that I can live to see the day when you become a doctor. You'll definitely be a very, very good doctor. Huamin didn't say anything, and he only smiled after leaving Wu Xiaoxue's home and heading downstairs. Huamin vaguely saw a familiar man walking towards him. Mian, why are you here? Ning Ziyuan came back to get some things, and was surprised to see Huamin downstairs. He froze. The two were about 3 meters away from each other, and they looked at each other. Chapter 659. I'm here to see Xiaoxue and the kids. Huamin looked at Ning Ziyuan coldly. If she didn't feel anything for Ning Ziyuan before, now that she saw how pitiful Wu Xiaoxue and the kids were, she began to hate him. She had already started to hate this man. He was no longer the handsome young man she had met in university. All she saw now was a disgusting scumbag. You're here to see Wu Xiaoxue? You're close to her, aren't you? Ning Ziyuan didn't seem to know that Wu Xiaoxue and Huamin had already reconciled. That's between me and her. I don't need to tell you. Then, Huamin walked towards his car. Mian. What's up? Huamin stopped walking and didn't even look back. She didn't want to see him, not at all. How are you doing now? Haha, aren't you able to see me on TV and in the newspapers? Huamin chuckled. I think Qin Chu doesn't treat you well. He went public with everything and pushed you to the center of attention. I think he's trying to clear his name by showing off his relationship with you. You've been used, do you know that? Upon hearing these words, Huamin turned around and looked at Ning Ziyuan with a complicated expression. Really? I've really been used? Yeah, you're so smart, didn't you notice? Ning Ziyuan said earnestly. Thank you for reminding me. Now I know that I've been used, but so what? He's my husband. I'm willing to be used. Huamin said on purpose. Are you willing to do anything just because of money? Even if you're bullied by that evil mother-in-law, you're willing to endure it? After all these years, you still don't know me at all. Let me tell you, I've drunk the strongest alcohol and given up on the person I love the most. I can be as stubborn as a madman, but I can also work like a man. I can also be a good wife and mother at home, a good wife and a good mother. Everything depends on who you are. So don't ever try to look at me from your point of view, because I'm afraid you'll never understand." With that, Huamin walked away without looking back. She had nothing to say to Ning Ziyuan. He wasn't even a familiar stranger. Based on what he had done to Wu Xiaoxue and her daughter, he was not worthy of forgiveness. It didn't matter if he was fired by President Wu or chased out of the Wu family's mansion. Everything was his own doing. Ning Ziyuan looked at Huamin's back and stood there for a long time in a daze. He suddenly realized that the best time of his life was when he was chasing Huamin in university. But those days were gone forever. Sometimes, he even thought that if he had trusted Huamin and stood by her side, he would not have done those things that hurt her. In that case, would she not leave him? Not going back to Qin Chu's side? But there were no ifs in life. There were only consequences and results. Everything that happened today was his own fault. Once upon a time, Huamin was willing to trust him and let him be by her side. But he didn't cherish her. So, who could he blame now? By the time Huamin got home, Qin Chu had already made dinner. Sometimes, when he thought about it, although Mr. Qin didn't talk much, he was still a caring man. He was so busy, but when he got home, he immediately took off his role as the boss and played the role of a husband. He made delicious food for Huamin. "Wow, it smells so good." "Honey, did you make seafood?" Huamin asked as soon as he got home. "You have a good nose." Qin Chu smiled. He brought out dinner. It was steamed crab, mantis shrimp, spicy stir-fried sea cucumber, and tinfoil roasted clams. These were all Huamin's favorite seafood. Ever since he found out that Qin Chu couldn't eat seafood, Huamin had been very restrained. He almost forgot how long it had been since he last ate seafood. But Mr. Qin remembered it clearly, huh? One who is unaccountably solicitous must be hiding evil intentions. "Honey, you're so nice to me. Do you have a favor to ask of me?" "Of course I do," Qin Chu said matter-of-factly. "Then what do you want from me, Mr. Qin?" Huamin walked over and hugged Qin Chu's waist from behind. Then he began to act coquettishly. "I want you to be on top tonight. I've been really tired lately, so please take the initiative." If Huamin almost choked. Mr. Qin was talking dirty again? Was there anyone who could control him? Chapter 660.
What?
Can't you satisfy your husband's one request? Qin Chu looked like he was wronged. "Mr. Qin, you're bullying me," Huamin yelled. She was inexperienced to begin with, but Qin Chu wanted her to take the initiative, a man on top and a woman on the bottom. "Oh my, so dirty, I'll stop teasing you, let's eat." Qin Chu lovingly let go of Huamin's hand. Then he ate seafood with her. Qin Chu's stomach was sensitive, so she only had a little bit of lobster congee. "All right, honey, I want to talk to you about something." "Okay. Didn't He Zhenghai speak up for me today? He asked me to do something."
What is it?
Qin Chu looked up at Huamin. "He wants to have tea with you and talk about the cooperation between the Hua Corporation and GK." Huamin skipped over Suyu. After all, she didn't want to mention Suyu in front of Qin Chu because she didn't want to make her husband feel bad. Even though there was nothing going on between her and Suyu, he sure knows how to scheme. "Yeah, he went to the old house today and bewitched my mom, playing the role of a good father. But I promised him that you guys would meet. It's up to you to decide if it works out or not. I'm only responsible for you guys meeting. You won't be mad at me, right?" "Why would I be?" Qin Chu smiled. "Really? Do you plan on meeting him?" "I'll go. My wife agreed on my behalf, so I have to give you face." Qin Chu spoiled Huamin 100 times. He never blamed her for acting on her own. "Honey, you're the best." "I'm the best, so are you going to do something for me later?" Here we go again. Huamin was truly speechless. Ever since Mr. Qin came back, he seemed to be asking for her a lot. "Honey, I read in a magazine that couples should only do it 2 or 3 times a week. It's not good for the body if it's too much," Huamian said with a straight face. "But I read in a magazine that newlyweds who have been married for less than a year can do it once a day, or even multiple times a day." Really? Huamin was confused again. "Mr. Qin sure knows how to pick up girls, yes. That's why we haven't been together for more than a year. We're still newlyweds, So it's normal for us to ask for more.
Why?
Honey, don't tell me you dislike me? Mr. Chen's innocent expression melted Huimin's heart. I didn't. Hubby, why would I dislike you? Then you'll be on top, and I'll be on the bottom tonight. Mr. Chen dug a hole. Then, our little fox with an IQ of 130 also foolishly jumped down. Sure enough, in front of the person he loved the most. All his IQ was useless. Unable to resist Mr. Chen's seduction, Huimin finally covered his face and took the lead. The result was surprisingly good, because she realized that this position was actually quite comfortable. It seemed like she still didn't know enough. Chen Chu looked at his wife, who was sighing in amazement, and chuckled. It seemed like he would have to take this position more often in the future. He wanted to try every one of the 108 positions recommended in the textbook. It would definitely feel amazing after Mr. Chen's torment. Huimin was exhausted and wanted to go to bed. Just as he was about to sleep, he received a call from Jiang Shaowei. Huimin, come and keep me company. I'm at Seductive Fox's top-floor private room C. After speaking, Jiang Shaowei hung up. Huimin immediately woke up. Ever since he became friends with Jiang Shaowei, his heart had been pounding. She was always like this, appearing and disappearing like a ghost. Honey, are you going out? Chen Chu asked curiously when he saw Huimin sleepily get up and get dressed. Chapter 661. I'm going to see a friend, Huimin said as she put on her clothes. Chen Chu looked down at his watch. It's too late, it's not safe. I'll drive you. Okay. Huimin knew that Chen Chu was worried about her, so she didn't reject him. The two went downstairs together. Chen Chu drove the Maybach to Seductive Fox. I'll wait for you guys in the car. Don't get drunk. Chen Chu reminded her worriedly. I know, Mr. Chen, I'll be a good girl. Wait for me here. Huimin was grateful that Chen Chu was so considerate. After all, Jiang Shaowei was a female friend of his. She wasn't close with Chen Chu, unlike Zhu Lingling, who had known them since high school. So, Chen Chu's best option was to wait in the car for them to have fun before taking his wife home. Although Seductive Fox was a place with all sorts of people, Chen Chu wasn't worried because it was Rick's place, so he didn't follow them. Huimin was in a hurry, so she didn't bother to dress up. She wore a long black hoodie and a pair of black leggings, but in reality, it was late autumn, so this kind of outfit wasn't enough to keep out the cold. After she got out of the car, a gust of cold wind hit her in the face. Huimin shivered from the cold. Then, she jogged into Seductive Fox and headed straight for the private room on the top floor.
Huh?
Which room is it? Room A, B, C, or D? Huimin was in a daze when she answered Jiang Shaowei's call, so she didn't pay much attention to it and forgot about it. She looked around the luxurious rooms in a daze. She picked up her phone and was about to call Jiang Shaowei when the door to room B suddenly opened. Tang Chuan, a big-breasted girl, walked out unsteadily. When she saw Huimin, she immediately perked up. Head nurse. Why are you here? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? I'm here to look for a friend, Huimin replied calmly. Huh? Could it be our Lord Su? He's inside. Hurry up. Tang Chuan was the kind of person who liked to kick up a fuss. Therefore, when he saw Huimin at the door of the private room, he couldn't wait to push her in front of Suyu. No. I'm here to see a girlfriend of mine, Huimin explained. At this time, Jiang Shaowei called. Have you arrived yet? We're here. What's your room number? Huimin quickly asked.
C.
Okay, 3 seconds. After speaking, Huimin turned around, walked a few steps, and opened the door to room C. She even forgot to talk to Tang Chuan. Young Master Tang, why don't we go to the washroom? It's dark there, the hot girl boldly invited. Wait, sweetheart, let me give Lord Su a message first. After speaking, Tang Chuan left his date behind and went back into room B. When Huimin walked in, he was immediately dumbfounded. Jiang Shaowei was the only one in the spacious private room. She was wearing a black miniskirt and a red shawl with tassels. She looked beautiful and sexy, but what was with the countless beer bottles in front of the table? Humin estimated that there were about 17 or 18 empty bottles. You're here?
Sit.
Jiang Shaowei smiled, revealing two of her signature canine teeth. Come to think of it, even a cold goddess like her would only be in a good mood when she saw Humin. Did you drink all of this? Humin asked suspiciously. Is there a second person in the room? Jiang Shaowei laughed. You are amazing. I worship you. Humin always thought that she was one of the girls with a decent alcohol tolerance, but Jiang Shaowei instantly crushed her. This was too scary. What's wrong? Did your blind date fail again? Humin noticed that she was a little depressed, so he asked. Chapter 662. My blind date failed, so I should celebrate like every other time. So you succeeded this time? Humin looked at her in surprise. It's not really a success, but my parents really like that guy. I just don't feel good about it, Jiang Shaowei said as she poured 2 glasses of wine. She handed one to Humian and downed the other in one gulp. Ahem, I'll secretly drink with you one day. My husband is downstairs, and if he finds out that I'm drinking, he'll kill me. Humin really didn't dare to secretly drink anymore because the last time he drank, he was sent to the police station and interrogated by Qin Chu until he wished he was dead. Mr. Qin was scary when he was angry. Although he spoiled her, he would never tolerate her bad habits. Okay, then I'll drink by myself. Jiang Shaowei poured herself another glass and downed it in one gulp. She didn't even blink and drank as if she was drinking cold water. It was Humin's first time seeing such a strong woman. You don't like him? Humin asked tentatively. How should I put it? He's a perfect candidate for marriage. He's 30 years old, works in the environmental protection industry, is a young CEO, returned from overseas, and is a genius in finance. He's handsome and has a good conversation style. His family background is clean, and he doesn't have a romantic history. Wow, you don't like him? Humin couldn't help but sigh after hearing Jiang Shaowei say so much. Good men were almost extinct nowadays, and Humin thought she was extremely lucky to meet such a perfect guy on a blind date. Yeah, he looks great at first glance, and I think he's a perfect candidate for marriage, but I feel like something's missing. What do you feel? Something like that. He's a typical Scorpio, and he's terrifyingly rational. He knows what he wants, and I know that he doesn't love me. He just wants me to be his wife because I'm suitable for marriage. To outsiders, we're a perfect couple, but it's just a label we use to make each other work. You can't think of it that way. What if they fall in love after marriage? It's not like there's no one around who's been in love before. Jiang Shaowei smiled bitterly. But I don't want to take the risk. What if I still don't like him after we get married? Am I supposed to get a divorce? What's the situation now?
Humin asked.
The two families intend to get engaged in a week's time. So fast. Humin was also surprised. Yeah, you know what? Actually, I felt that I was quite conflicted. On one hand, I felt that I had reached the age where I should just find a suitable man and get married. After all, I wasn't a little girl anymore. What kind of love could I desire? But on the other hand, I really can't accept it. I always hope that one day when I get married, it's because of love, not because of suitability. After all, the kind of man you choose will decide the quality of your life in the future. You're right. What are you going to do? Humin looked at Jiang Shaowei sympathetically. She was such an outstanding woman, yet she was in so much pain because she couldn't make a decision about her marriage. At this moment, she was really glad that she married Qin Chu. If she had agreed to marry Wei Dong in order to save her brother, or if she had continued to pretend to be mediocre and married Ning Ziyuan, perhaps she wouldn't be as happy as she was now. After all, marrying a man she didn't love was a sad thing. I don't know what to do either. Help me come up with an idea. Jiang Shaowei poured another glass of wine. This time, before she could drink it, Humin took it away from her. It's useless to drink too much. Once you sober up, you'll still have to face it. Then, what am I going to do? Humin, am I really going to marry that man? I can't accept it. Jiang Shaowei looked at Humin with tears in her eyes. Before Humin could say anything, The door to the private room was suddenly pushed open. Why didn't you say anything to me when you came? Is there a girl more heartless than you in the world? Suyu walked in with a dark expression. Chapter 663. Why are you here? Humin was quite surprised that Su suddenly ran over. That bitch Tang Chuan ran over to Lord Su to ask for credit. When Suyu heard that Humin was here, he immediately felt better. He couldn't even sit still and immediately wanted to come over. In the end, it was Wei Liao who told him to be more reserved. He forced him to drink 3 glasses of wine before letting him go. Hey, isn't this pretty girl from that day at the hospital? Wei Liao's memory was quite good. Although that day, Zhang Xiaowei's side profile was a killer, but Wei Liao still recognized her. That stud Tang Chuan was hiding in a corner and having with a hot girl. Otherwise, if he was there, he could help identify her. Do you guys know each other? Humin looked at Wei Liao strangely. Wei Liao immediately shook his head. No, I don't. You know Suyu? Zhang Xiaowei obviously wasn't drunk, so she looked at Humin and asked. I used to take care of him when he was hospitalized at Southside, Humin briefly explained. Suyu felt like the chances of him bringing Humin to his private room weren't high. So, he simply sat down on the sofa next to Humin. What are you doing? Humin looked at him in confusion. You definitely can't go over to my room, so I think I should sit down and keep you company. This isn't my private room, it's my friend's. Humin wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Suyu had been quiet for a long time, but now, he was going to start messing around again. Waiter, put all the expenses in this private room on my tab. Okay, young Master Su. The waiter immediately ran over and added a lot of snacks and drinks. Rich people are so willful. Zhang Xiaowei glanced at Suyu and said, he's no longer a simple nouveau riche. With how much money he spends, we've already called him a god-level nouveau riche. Wei Liao smiled. Then, Suyu and Wei Liao shamelessly refused to leave the room without the owner's permission. Inside the CEO's office on the top floor of seductive Fox, Rick looked at the surveillance camera and pondered for a while. Then, he called Qin Chu. Although he was not a tattletale, he knew that Qin Chu cared a lot about Humin. Hello. Qin Chu answered the phone. Your wife came to my place again. Please note that Rick used the word again. I know. I came with her. Where are you? Rick was confused. I'm in the car downstairs. She went up to keep a friend company. It's not convenient for me, Qin Chu explained. Then let me tell you something. Calm down after you hear it. What is it? Your wife's friend is in room C, and Suyu and the others are in room B, so? Qin Chu continued to ask. So, 3 minutes ago, Suyu and the others went to room C. Are you sure you don't want to come up and take a look? Qin Chu was silent for 5 seconds. I'm not going up. I trust her. Qin Chu said calmly. He knew what kind of person Humin was. He didn't want to restrict her too much. They needed to respect each other and have their own privacy. Even though they were husband and wife, they couldn't pressure each other to the point that they couldn't breathe. If Qin Chu checked Humin's Weibo and WeChat every day after a while, even if there weren't any conflicts, there would be conflicts. So, even though he heard from Rick that Suyu went to look for Humin in room C, he wasn't worried at all. You're such a boss. Rick was speechless. If it's mine, no one can take it away. If it's not mine, I won't be able to keep it even if I force it, Qin Chu said slowly. Fine, I don't understand what you Chinese people are thinking. Anyways, I told you.
You're on your own now.
Rick hung up the phone. Qin Chu continued to analyze the data on his laptop as usual. He wasn't worried about what was going on upstairs at all. This was not at all like the steadiness and maturity of a 27-year-old young man. Of course, the reason he wasn't worried wasn't because he didn't love Humin. It was because he loved her so much that he didn't want to hurt her pride. What are you doing here in the middle of the night instead of sleeping at home? Why are you wearing pajamas? Suyu looked at Humin with disdain. He looked at her from head to toe and came to the conclusion that Humin came out in pajamas. Chapter 664. Humin immediately rolled his eyes at him. Is this what your pajamas look like? Is this a sweater? Do you understand?
No.
If you don't understand, then go away. I don't want to waste my time talking to you. Insulting Suyu was one of Min's signature moves. Back at Southside, this was how he dealt with Humian. Wei Liao, on the other hand, sat in front of Jiang Shaowei and began flirting with her. Pretty girl, did you drink all of this by yourself? Yeah. Jiang Shaowei's mood suddenly improved. Perhaps it was because there were more people in the room, so she felt less lonely. You're a good drinker. Wei Liao complimented. I'm okay. How that day at Southside, I saw you, right? Were you driving a white Lexus? Wei Liao asked.
Yeah.
Jiang Shaowei nodded. Wei Liao was ecstatic. To think that he would meet such a beautiful woman with a side profile again. It must be fate. Are you Humin's friend? Wei Liao continued to ask. What does that have to do with you? Don't you think you're asking too much? Either sit down and drink, or get out of here. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you guys. Jiang Shaowei unleashed her tomboy skills. She was even more pretentious than Humin. Wei Liao was speechless. Humin was so happy that he couldn't stop laughing. Jiang Shaowei was such a rare girl. She was so real, she could swear, at any time. It didn't match her status as a famous psychologist who returned from overseas. Suyu's gaze softened as he watched Humin laugh. He didn't have many opportunities to interact with Humin, so he rarely saw her laugh so brightly. He suddenly felt that this was the best laughter he had ever heard in the world. Humin only cared about laughing at Jiang Shaowei and Wei Liao. She didn't care that Suyu was looking at her affectionately. It's not that I can't drink, but I'm afraid that I'll drink too much. After all, this is the first time we've met. It's not good. Being publicly challenged by Jiang Shaowei, Wei Liao said modestly, don't worry. If you make me drunk today, I'll go with you. You can do whatever you want. Humin spat out a mouthful of blood. Suyu was also speechless, although Wei Liao was also a playboy. He was all talk and no action. The Wei Liao family had been in the steel construction industry for many years and was also a large family. Wei Liao had an older brother and an older sister. Thus, due to the reputation of the clan, they would not act recklessly. Now that Jiang Shaowei took the initiative, he was helpless. He rubbed his nose and said, I don't think that's a good idea.
I didn't mean that.
Are you going to drink or not? You're so annoying. Jiang Shaowei lost her patience. Let's drink. Since you're a woman, how about you drink 1 glass and I drink 2 glasses? What do you think? Sure. Jiang Shaowei nodded without hesitation. Wei Liao looked at the beer and wine on the table and said, take these away and change them to white wine. Waiter, give me a few bottles of Mao Tai. Okay, young Master Wei. You guys aren't serious, are you? Humin was a little worried. Wei Liao's alcohol tolerance is terrifying. Your friend is definitely going to lose today, Suyu said proudly with his arms crossed. I don't think so. Shaowei's a weirdo too. Humin didn't seem to think that Jiang Shaowei would definitely lose. After Wei Liao poured 2 glasses of white wine, he covered the rim of the glass with one hand and said, Babe, let's make this clear first. If you're really drunk and have to leave with me, you can have fun, but don't make me take responsibility. Okay. Jiang Shaowei said without hesitation. What if you lose? Jiang Shaowei looked at Wei Liao teasingly. If I lose, you can do whatever you want with me. Of course, I can leave with you and spend the night with you. You don't have to pay anything. Wei Liao said with a smile, in your dreams. Jiang Shaowei glared at him. Wei Liao wasn't very handsome, but he was the type that was pleasing to the eye. His eyes weren't big, and he liked to smile. He was sharp-tongued and quick-witted. He hung out with Suyu all the time. He was a natural optimist. If you lose, you'll have to walk around Seductive Fox in your underwear. Jiang Shaowei said slowly, that's a deal. Suyu laughed maniacally. Lord Su, you're on my side, okay? You can't choose the wrong side because of Humin's beauty trap. Wei Liao was speechless. Chapter 665. Let's not waste time, okay?
Can you do it or not?
Zhang Xiaowei glared at Wei Liao. No problem, I don't care. It's not like I'm going to lose. Wei Liao felt like he had been on the battlefield for a long time. He had been drinking C since he was 12 or 13 years old, so he was immune to all kinds of drugs. 2 pounds of baijiu was nothing to him. 2 pounds of baijiu meant 6 or 7 glasses. Zhang Xiaowei, on the other hand, probably wouldn't be able to hold on much longer because she had drunk so much. Although he really didn't have any improper thoughts about Zhang Xiaowei, he still wanted to break her spirit. Since Zhang Xiaowei was a girl and she had drunk so much before, Wei Liao announced that he would drink 2 glasses for every glass she drank. Zhang Xiaowei was very straightforward. She picked up a glass of baijiu and downed it first, then she shook the empty glass as if she was provoking him. Wei Liao was also very straightforward. He didn't say anything and downed 2 glasses in a row. Suyu took out a cigarette, put it in his mouth, and applauded Wei Liao. Then he picked up the lighter on the table and lit it up. Perhaps it was because he was too close to Humin, so the fragrance of the cigarette drifted over. Humin suddenly felt uncomfortable in his throat and began to cough. After coughing for the 3rd time, Suyu quietly pulled the cigarette out of his mouth, threw it on the ground, and stepped on it twice. Wei Liao looked at Suyu's careful expression and half-smiled. Then Zhang Xiaowei picked up another glass of baijiu and downed another glass. Wei Liao then downed another 2 glasses. The battle became more and more intense. Humin was a little worried about Zhang Xiaowei's body. He grabbed her wrist and whispered, "Even if you lose, you can't drink anymore. They're my friends, they won't really give you a hard time." "I'm fine, don't worry." Zhang Xiaowei gave Humin a confident look. Then she picked up the 3rd glass of baijiu and downed it again. Wei Liao was a little uncomfortable. Most people wouldn't be able to handle drinking 1 glass at a time. What's more, he drank twice as much as Zhang Xiaowei did. So he hesitated for a moment and downed another 2 glasses. Until now, Zhang Xiaowei had downed 3 glasses in a row, while Wei Liao had 6 glasses. 6 glasses wasn't a lot, but it was still very powerful if he drank them consecutively. The alcohol rushed to Wei Liao's brain, and he suddenly felt a little dizzy. He thought that 3 glasses as SSS was enough to knock it. Who knew? 2? S2, drink go? Wei Liao swallowed, and a strong smell of alcohol wafted from his throat. However, he forced himself to drink 2 more glasses in a row. To be honest, by the time he drank the 2nd glass, he was already about to throw up. But men were prideful, so he held it in. Suyu could see that Wei Liao had reached his limit, but looking at Zhang Xiaowei, it was obvious that she couldn't do it either. His face was flushed red and reeked of alcohol. Even so, Zhang Xiaowei was still unconvinced. She slowly picked up the 5th cup and slowly drank it under everyone's gaze. Humin couldn't even bear to watch. After Wei Liao saw her drink the 5th cup, he immediately stood up. "Beauty, I'm convinced. Tell me, should I run downstairs or upstairs first?" It was obvious that Wei Liao had admitted defeat, because if he drank more, not only would he vomit, but he might also be hospitalized for alcohol poisoning. He would rather run naked than risk his life. Zhang Xiaowei smiled proudly. "Whatever, as long as you're wearing underwear." Chapter 666. Wei Liao turned around and walked out. He couldn't take off his clothes in front of the 2 women, right? Although this request was ridiculous, he was a man and had to do what he said. Suyu was still worried, so he followed him out. Zhang Xiaowei covered her mouth, rushed to the bathroom, and vomited like crazy. "Are you okay? You're amazing. I've never seen anyone drink as much as you do. You're the god of alcohol," Humin exclaimed as he patted Zhang Xiaowei's back. "Actually, I cheated. Haha, I drank sobering medicine before I drank." Zhang Xiaowei smiled mysteriously. No wonder. Humin finally understood. It seemed like Wei Liao was smart, but he still couldn't avoid being played.
Haha.
After Zhang Xiaowei finished vomiting, she felt much better. Huamin supported her, and the two of them walked out. Wei Liao was a man of his word. He ran downstairs in a pair of white boxers. The waiters and customers all looked at him strangely. Luckily, Siyu was with him. No one dared to say anything because they didn't want to offend the crown prince. Siyu was speechless. He took out his phone and said, "Haha, when you get married, play this VCR on the day of your wedding. It'll be amazing." Fuck off. Wei Liao cursed. Tang Chuan came back from the corner with a hot girl and was speechless when he saw this scene. "I was only out for half an hour. What happened here?" Tang Chuan was dumbfounded. Your young Master Wei made a bet with a beauty to drink. If he lost, he would run around in his underwear. In the end, he bragged too much and lost, so this is what happened. Siyu summarized everything in a few words. Ha ha ha, this is too funny. Where are the beauties? I have to thank him for standing up for us. Tang Chuan looked up and laughed. Ever since they were young, none of them could outdrink Wei Liao when it came to drinking. Even Siyu was no match for him. Today, he actually fell into the hands of a woman. It was really God's will. What about over there? Siyu asked in the direction of Huamin and Jiang Shaowei. Tang Chuan looked at it and was a little puzzled. Why does he look so familiar? Oh, I remember now. That killer profile. Haha, so she's Huamin's friend. No wonder she's at Southside. Tang Chuan was even more excited. What do you mean by side profile? Siyu was confused. After that, Tang Chuan rambled on about what happened that day. Siyu smiled. You two are really talented.
Who told you to show off?
Now you've met your match. Can you two be quiet? Will you die if you don't talk? Wei Liao scolded with a dark expression as he jogged. Huamin supported Jiang Shaowei and watched from the side. Jiang Shaowei was originally very depressed, but she was suddenly in a good mood after being teased by Wei Liao. She suddenly sighed and said, Huamin, did you know? Ever since I came back to China, all my aunts and uncles came to my house to persuade me. They said that it's hard to find a woman when you're old. They said that it's fine if you're not too picky, and that you should just get married. When they blabber on and on, I usually say that if I get married, it's either money or the man. I don't dare to ask for both. After all, you can't have your cake and eat it too. But if the man isn't good enough and doesn't have money, then I'm sorry. Am I marrying him to have children and play house with him? I'm not a living lay phone. Whoever lacks a dick can go ahead and get married. I wish them a happy life. Haha, that's a great answer. Huamin couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, at the time, I thought that I would be able to persevere, but in the end, I couldn't avoid it. Maybe in a week, I'll really get engaged, Jiang Shaowei said dejectedly. Shaowei, have you never been deeply in love with anyone before? Huamin asked curiously. In kindergarten, the class president and I used to eat lollipops together. You took a bite, and I took a bite. Does that count as love? After Jiang Shaowei finished speaking, she and Huamin looked at each other and smiled, as if they understood each other. I envy you. You have Qin Chu, your childhood sweetheart. You can still be willful by his side when you're older, but not everyone is as lucky as you. In this world, there are still so many people who don't get what they want. I believe that those who persevere will eventually find happiness, as long as you don't give up, Huamin said seriously. Just then, Wei Liao ran over with sweat all over his forehead. He looked at Jiang Shaowei and said, Beauty, I've done what I promised you. Give me your WeChat. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.